And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the land of dreams and nightmares. I am Esper, your dungeon master in the darkness. I have back with us once again Dennis, Warsor, and Adam. Could you guys quickly introduce your characters?
Hey guys, I'm Dennis, and I play Lykarr Vantis, the level 6 Storm Sorcerer.
Hi guys, I'm Warsor. I play Noxiqual, the hexblade Warlock.
Pirate.
I'm Adam, and as before, I'm playing Kivish, Dwarven Circle of Dreams Druid.
When we last left off, our intrepid heroes had just encountered, or just finished encountering, I should say, the guardian of the cactus forest, Murexaa, a strange and hermit-like spider being. You met her with much power and potent force, and she recognized this, and you all worked out a sort of uneasy truce. Any other incidents of note? You got ambushed by thorn creatures and spider folk. I think those are the main things that come to mind for me.
Aside from talking with the caver people, yeah.
The cavers as well. Yes, that's true. You returned the boy back to his home. With you still are two other men. You have Kobe the Lion, your faithful crewman, and your recent acquisition to your crew, Marley Eppenkoff, who at one point was a pretty despised fellow, but you later came to find out that he was framed in a pretty weird way. He caught his wife, who he had suspected of some strange behavior. He caught her along with another robed figure in the middle of a dark ritual that was draining the energy, draining the soul of that young boy. And when he reacted violently in bewilderment and terror, he got caught up in a strange situation and actually accused of violence against his wife. She essentially made it look like he was trying to do her harm. He had attacked her. And then she cursed him so that his ability to speak was limited to only swears, and he had a very ill and a terrible malformed ability to express himself. So he couldn't really defend himself or explain himself. So that got brought to life. So there's still some strange supernatural entity, or at least someone who wields supernatural power in Horncombe Lodge. The party progresses to the rest of the cactus forest. After getting Coraxia's truce, you are unaccosted as you pass through the second half of this area filled with all manner of thorny, spiny flora. You pass through the sort of the canyon valley of the peninsula, through and through, and after about 2 days, you have arrived at the entry point onto the peninsula of Merkelon's Jaw. Staying her steady post is Breca the Rock, half orc, a quarterstaff and key fist pummeling guardian of the area, and she hops down off of her ledge and greets you all. "Oi! You come back finally!"
Hello, Breca.
Greetings, well met again, Breca.
You look worse than the last time I saw you. What happened out there?
Some would say we had a bit of a party.
That must have been a really rough party.
Weren't you there, Breca?
Are you talking about the wedding party?
No.
Okay, because that was a really rough party too.
What happened?
Could say we had another.
Strange things are happening in Horncombe Lodge.
Like what?
She looks left, she looks right. Almost paranoid that someone may be watching. She leans in close. Old man Kyle Eck and his 3 daughters were found dead. Found dead up in the attic, the high chamber, where they had some sort of dry pool. The daughters were withered husks, and Lord Eck was naught but a skeleton lying in the bottom of that tub.
How peculiar.
Very interesting. I guess we're not married anymore.
Maybe now there will be new rulers in this land who will have not similar inclinations.
Would you all happen to know what was the cause of this strange fate?
Such knowledge could be dangerous. Are you sure you wish to know these things?
I'm tasked with keeping a close eye on whoever enters Merkelon's jar.
Who tasked you with this?
The one who tasked me is the Rock Biter,
Who is that?
devourer of cities,
Does this ring any bells, Esper?
gullet of caverns, great crawler.
Sounds like you are describing something that lives beneath the earth and burrows.
It was Merkelon himself.
Ah. Well, would you be open? Nah, this is not my business. This is your business. I motion towards the dwarf and man.
Breca the Rock wants to know what happened exactly in Horncombe Lodge. Are you going to tell her?
I think.
Don't everyone speak up.
Yeah, I think maybe. No.
You're all involved. I have no love for the Eck family.
No.
But they do keep peace and order in this region.
I don't remember exactly last time if it worked, but Kivish is gonna basically speak Druidic with the series of hand signs and like weird gestures and like winks and animal noises and whatever that comprises, and just say to her something along the lines of,
"Are you turning into a werewolf?"
In that case, he's just going to sort of wink at her and as if to imply, we'll be on our way now, but like I'll whisper something to you as I walk past.
Breca, if we were to tell you this information, what would be in it for us? What do you offer?
I'm not here to make a bargain. I simply want to know the happenings in the land that I am a part of.
I mean, information has value. Information is power, and also you have anything. If you have nothing to offer, I'm afraid that we are unable to provide any information. A little bit of the side of Captain Noxiqual showing.
Breca frowns. She doesn't like that. She looks at Marley. What of you, man of Horncombe Lodge? Are you now part of this lot? Marley rings his knuckles nervously. Yeah, I suppose I am. I've contracted onto the Storm's Eye, onto his ship.
Aye.
So you think you'll find better employ with this one-eyed magician than the Eck family? I don't trust X. I don't trust anything that's going on in that settlement. I'm getting out of here, and I hope I'll never come back. I say good day to you. Good riddance. And he starts stomping out. He starts stomping away. He's very agitated.
I send Kobe the kitten after him.
Go, hello. Go, taking off. So there's a bit of an impasse. You all don't really want to tell her what you all did. She is, she's not going to enter into a barter. She doesn't seem to believe in that that idea or that perspective. She doesn't share it. She just kind of huffs and is, so be it. And she goes up back to her ledge.
She's not my friend. She's your guy's friend.
So, that's true. Right before she leaves, if at all possible, I'd like to just sort of lean over and whisper to her, ensure that somebody good takes the place of the X. They weren't good for this land, and whoever takes their place should be somebody better. Something like that.
How would she... Never mind.
I don't know. She's...
Thank you for your words of wisdom.
I'm sure
I'm
sure Maxwell was taking
over to make sure she maybe gets the message. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens, or at least they'll have to see what happens now that Maxwell Eck is probably the likely successor. So I suppose that is that. You all are now exiting Mercalon's Jaw. Okay, let's go back to the map here. Oh, did I get that stick? There it goes. Okay.
I'm honestly surprised neither of you asked her to become the guardian of the temple, like I thought you were going to.
Well, so I had gotten the impression earlier in a conversation with her that she was like sworn to her ledge exclusively. And couldn't be persuaded to be a guardian of the temple. Otherwise, she was my first instinct to ask otherwise.
Okay. I mean, you didn't ask her, so we'll never know, I guess.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. But anyway.
Sure. Kivish is of the mind that she is already a sworn guardian of one location, and it does not seem an appropriate question, or maybe it seems unlikely in whatever way that she is going to exchange. But again, we never quite know. At least we don't know for now. So the party treks across this expanse of plains here over the next day. As you are on the move, it's just kind of a cool, partly cloudy, breezy weather. Nothing of much import occurs. And you come here to where the Starfall Road meets with the river to Strang's Keep, the fortress of one of the companies of soldiers that protects the highway here and protects this region, the region north of the city of Sumnerfield. Waiting for you is the Storm's Eye and Noxiqual's beloved ship and crew, who met with
Success?
Not the greatest trading that they've ever had in Sumnerfield. They basically chalk it up to the demand was low and they got kind of stiffed by some jerks, and is what we able to make out with, and they've got a kind of a paltry amount of profit.
I just kind of Look at my first mate. See if he like gives me like the it was, that's how it was, or it was some other way, and I just kind of accept it.
All right, so you this is not your first round of trading, and you say, you win some, you lose some. That's the nature of it all. Know when to fold your cards and just stay in the game, and over the long term, you make out ahead.
Know when to walk away. Know when to run.
Kobe is very happy to make it back to his crew in one piece. He regales his fellow crewmen of the tale of the adventure that he went on in Merkelon's Jaw, and
Good tale.
it is quite a tale to be told. And
Almost 5 episodes worth.
yeah, it's about like a good 5 hours worth of him, making spinning yarns and embellishing parts. But what can you say about the guy? He sure looks like he's gained quite a lot of experience through that adventure.
Oh, snap.
Marley Eppenkoff is he seems to still be in a bit of a shaken up state, so he's not talking too much. He's just kind of keeping his eyes open. They're probably hazing him a little bit, and he's just doing what he can to get along with this, with the bunch of sea dogs here.
I leave it up to my crew. They know how to initiate a new, wannabe pirate.
All right, so they really don't go easy on him, and he's getting hazed in.
He'll make it, or not.
Oh,
man, it's good to be back on my ship.
Indeed, to feel the nice, gently rocking boards beneath your feet. It's like a familiar and comforting feeling.
Is there any news from Strang's Keep about that undead, whatever that was going on before?
Oh, the army, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I would like you to make some sort of skill check here, because everyone that you ask, they keep it pretty short and not sweet. So short and bland. So there was the battle that occurred that you all saw the beginning of it unfolding, and it was a terrible thing. The undead did not make it so far as Crocus League, but they'd set up a barricade and they had their company waiting. And one of the Archmagisters led a force from the Silver Citadel and fought a harrowing battle. The victor was unclear, but at least there was not an overwhelming defeat, so much as the Mer Queen's forces did not progress any farther eastward.
Wait, Mer Queen's forces?
Mm-hmm.
So that's who was behind.
It was not
supposed to say that name.
So yeah, that I don't remember which episode that was in, but it was basically stated that it was not the Mer Queen herself, but there was some leader or servant or captain. There was some kind of undead, something lichy type woman who was leading a rather mixed bunch of different types of undead, even spectral things.
I guess they could just knock the T out of Lichtfield and make it Litchfield now.
Well, there's actually a historical reason for that. There was a battle that was fought there, and it got the field at one point was just a big, sort of a graveyard. I mean, not a cemetery properly, but many bodies after the battle were just buried there on the spot. That was a long time ago, and then it eventually got turned into fields like crops.
Did you still want to check, or did you just give us all that information?
Those are things that you already knew.
Okay.
But if you're asking for basically an update to that, and the answers you get from the soldiers standing guard in the area, like I said, are pretty limited.
Persuasion check, 18.
Persuasion of 18. Their lips are sealed.
Very well.
No news. The forces were driven back, thanks be to the Silver Citadel. I wouldn't have wanted to fight whatever in the hell those fiends were.
Nor I, which is why I'm glad that such did not come to pass.
I believe the next location is Norgle's Rock, as Kivish has some affairs in his home dwarven settlement. The crew members as well are quite on board with that, saying that maybe they can sell off the rest of this cargo and get a fair price with the dwarves.
Oh, I didn't know that we had discussed this. What was the plan?
Well, so apparently my dreams have been leading me in the direction of home as of late, and it seems of some vague but relatively great importance that we head that way now.
Kivish has had a dream a couple of times, actually. In the first dream, there was a frog croaking at you. Looked just like the frog in that pool.
Right.
Then in the second time the dream appeared, you see a vision of a familiar entity, the strange fey woman that you know as Murexaa. And she is actually choking this frog, like strangling him in anger. She's very frustrated with this frog. And there is definitely a beckoning back to Norville's Rock. The crewmen of the Storm's Eye are in favor of this, as they pretty much got. I'm not going to say they got worked over in Sumnerfield, but their dealings were not great. So they're hoping to find some better deals with the dwarves than selling off the rest of this cargo.
Oh, I assure them that they'll definitely be making a profit now that I'm back at home. One way or another.
They have no cause to argue with that. They have no reason to refute. I just realized oh, there it is. Okay. So
It looks like we can ride the river to Terror Town.
yes. Apparently, I have not named this river yet. So you go northbound along the river.
Oh, it's not the Sedge River?
Oh, okay, that is the Sedge. Okay, the Sedge is the north-south, and the Elder is the east-west one. Okay.
Which makes sense because that's where we went to the Devil's Den.
Oh, I see. I guess technically they are separate tributaries, aren't they?
Yeah, good enough. So you take it northbound. The crew is they're pretty happy that Noxiqual made it back unscathed from this strange expedition into Merkelon's Jaw.
Even more powerful than when I went.
Yeah, there seems to be a darkening of Master's shadow. What strange deals did you make out there in the Badlands?
Oh, I made no deals. I simply remained faithful to the one I serve.
You get some curious eyes, some slaps on the back, some chuckles. Someone like shoves a wineskin into your hand and is like, drink up.
All right, but whoever slapped me on the back, I'm gonna flog you. No, just kidding. I drank.
The next day, you're passing through this section of the Elder River here, which is it's actually a very wide river, and you're heading eastbound along it. Along the way, you come across a halfling flotilla. So there are a number of halfling riverboats ranging from small rafts and canoes to mid-sized proper riverboats, all the way up to essentially floating cabins. I mean, homes. There are large... they almost have like imagine like a ferry, that you would be used to transport large cargo, but built atop them are huts and small cottages. They also have turtle riders. These are guards of sorts, and there are these big turtles, and atop their back are maybe 4 halfling guards that are patrolling and keeping watch over the whole flotilla. There's a merchant ship that runs up a trade flag and starts approaching the Storm's Eye.
Ooh, exciting. Yeah, I think a little merchant look might be in order.
Okay, so you're interacting here with a halfling river merchant. He is named Chip Vonders. You probably, I'm going to say you know of him, being that you're something of a trader yourself and
What was his name
a
again?
sailor.
I'm writing it down.
Chip Vonders.
Wonder.
Chip Vonders. You might have even traded with him before, so he's familiar enough face to you. Well-known halfling river merchant. He actually has merchants in his employ. He has a couple of bodyguards, which are known to be quite potent. One is a warrior sort. The other one is the mage sort. It'd be turtle riders. He's got like one turtle pretty close by, keeping a watch on his goods. But he's got a nice big river boat, kind of like a river barge. And his boat saddles up next to the Storm's Eye. Yours is a different kind of ship altogether. Yours is probably more like some sort of galley. Saunters across with his bodyguards nearby. Well, how about you? Been a while, Nox.
It has been, and Captain Noxiqual, please.
Yeah.
Merchant Vanders.
He gives you a nice slap on the shoulder. Looks like you haven't lost any more body parts since last time I saw you.
Wait, he's a halfling, and he slaps me on the shoulder?
He jumps.
Okay, fair enough.
He's a spry fellow. He is. He's got a bit of pot belly, but those legs are nimble.
I believe you. Good. Yes, it has been a little while since last we crossed paths. It's good to see that you seem to be faring well.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a slow season, but hey, I can't complain. I have my health, I have my friends, I have my family. Life is a blessing, is it not?
I suppose it would depend on whose life.
You coming from Sumnerfield?
Coming from, yes, down south. What about yourself, coming from Tarrowtown?
Oh, I've been staying clear of Tarrowtown for the last couple weeks.
Oh, why is that?
Bad situation going on there. Bad.
Do tell.
It's a bit of a rebellion in Tarrowtown.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeping the flotilla out on the river here.
How long do you think you'll be floating along?
What I do, my whole life I will be. He goes on to talk about how there was a recent civil uprising in Tarrowtown. There was a bloody skirmish between rebels and loyalists, and Countess Sama Orlov, was merciless in sending out her soldiers to combat those that were trying to dethrone her or destabilize her from her essentially tyrannical rule. He also speaks of her daughter. I heard Rose of Gold is dead. But then I heard she ran away. Then I heard she's just missing and no one knows what happened to her. So I don't know what to believe, but something's going on with Rose of Gold.
How interesting.
Yeah, there's a reason I like to keep out here, keep to myself, my own people. He's kind of just gives a little gesture back to the flotilla. He's got his two bodyguards. The warrior type one has a mask. His armor's pretty light, but he's got a masked helm, so you can only see his eyes. And he just kind of gives a nod. The other one who's a mage-like is really just dressed sort of like a noble, just wearing some nice noble clothes. And she's a halfling woman, and she just kind of oh, Tarrowtown, what's going to happen to them all? Sometimes I really worry about them.
I'm sure that whoever comes out on top will restore order and allow us to be profitable in our trading in that area once more.
Hey, that's all I really care about in the end. Speaking of which, you
You
want
wanna
to do a little
trade?
bit of bartering?
Yes, I believe I might have some things that interest you.
He actually says that he's got a pretty good stock. He usually keeps a decent stock. He says that in particular, his his mage companion, she has managed to acquire, like a scrolls rack worth of magic scrolls, and they've got some neat things. So
I do have many arcane folk that might be interested in such things.
So to let you know what he has of that might be of interest to you all, he has a number of scrolls. Now, obviously, I couldn't just literally spend the time to go through and write out every single scroll. So I've got a percent chance I can roll if you name a specific spell. He has potions of healing, potions of water breathing, potions of resistance.
Any special items?
And in terms of special items, he has a few magic things. He has gloves of climbing and swimming, circlet of blasting, ring of jumping, wand of web, eyes of the eagle, wand of magic missile.
Kivish pesters him as to if he has anything truly unusual. And if he doesn't have
What, like a
anything
talking head in a box?
or something about as unusual as that, yes.
I don't know. I got a lot of weird stuff. How weird you want to get?
You had my interest, but now you have my attention. Kivish does a lean in close and adjusts his right brow about 2 notches further than you thought it could go.
He speaks quietly. Hopefully only you could hear it. He says, I've got a dwarven whore over there on one of the brothel floats, and she has goat legs growing out of her stomach.
Well, now I'm actually kind of curious as to how that happens. Do I think he's serious about this, or is he just having me on, or just trying to create some illusion of?
Sounds like an insight check.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
what I was thinking. Alright. Nyarlathotep has seen it fit to give me a 17, which plus my wisdom is actually going to be a 20.
It seems like he's telling you the truth, but he's got a smirk on his face.
I mean, it sounds interesting, but I probably would have to pay just to experience anything. But then again, what does more money mean to me? It's not made of the earth. It doesn't live and breathe.
He'll be doing a show tonight, but if you want a private show, you got to pay extra.
I have a question for you, Esper, a rules thing that I'm not familiar with. For scrolls. If you are not a class that can cast the spell on the scroll, can you still cast it?
Well, let's see. If it's your class and it's of a level you can cast, you automatically can cast it without any chance of failure.
That's why.
If it's a higher level, then you make a spellcaster check. 10 plus the spell's level is the DC, and you just use your spellcasting ability. And then if it's a different class, I shall consult the guide of dungeon masters.
Indeed, I'm sure this is a simple question that I should know myself, but I do not. Hardly ever get scrolls in games. Honestly.
Okay. The players in my home game use it a lot, but I don't think they've ever picked up a scroll that wasn't their class.
I'm looking at one right now, a particular spell that I'm like, okay, it's only cleric, paladin, or artificer.
It needs to be on your class's spell list.
So basically, note that. All right, no matter. There are plenty of other spells which good utility.
Lykarr, do you have interest in any amount of trade or other such interaction with these halflings?
If he has a spell I was interested in, instead of just using it one time, can you scribe it into your spell book?
I believe so. If it's a spell.
That is wizards are the ones that use spell books.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not sorcerers.
Yeah. So as a sorcerer, your spells are known by you. They have an innate quality about them. But you could get scrolls of sorcerer spells. A first level scroll is 50 gold pieces. A second level scroll is 100 gold pieces, and a third level scroll is 250 gold pieces. That's his asking price.
Yeah, the only problem really here is finding something on my spell list that's worth having in a scroll.
I seem to have erased how much gold I have.
What do you need gold for?
Exactly.
All the good spells belong to the other classes.
Let me look.
Someone's got a bright idea.
Bing!
Should ask for scrolls of Warlock spells. Like
Why?
a scroll of Warlock spells, like a scroll that just casts like 5 random Warlock spells at random.
At random targets, even.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
complete random.
Yes.
That's terrible. Let's see. Okay, if I don't want to do a scroll, what else have we got? You said that he had. Wand of Magic Missile. Never hurts to have one of those. A Wand of Web.
The Wand of Web, he is asking for 700 gold pieces.
What about a trade?
Sure.
I ask him.
He's quite happy to do that.
I have here with me Eye of a Basilisk.
He takes a look at the Eye of a Basilisk.
It's genuine, I guarantee. Killed it ourselves.
Looks like you plucked it out fresh. Good on you. And?
How much, yes, do you value the eye?
Yeah. He appraised it about like a potion. So I have 50 gold pieces.
Alright, that still leaves me with a lot. Problem is, I don't think I've actually earned any money on this endeavor at all. Unless...
Sadly, it was not incredibly lucrative.
Yeah.
Although, hang on a second. There was a thing that we found last session. That you
A
were just...
statuette of a Hydra? Is that what you're
was it.
thinking of?
Yes. I show him the statuette of the Hydra.
And I would have given you a specific gold value on
I
that.
think you said 300.
300? Okay. All right, so you're halfway to the Wand of Web. He's like,
Well...
okay. Don't let this one fall overboard,
Well... Unfortunately, I have 2 gold pieces to my name other than that, so I'm just trying to see... Because I can't really afford to give up anything else.
Okay. Do you want to get gold for those 2 items?
Oh, I also have apparently a chain shirt, so let's see how much that might be worth. Maybe 25 gold?
Is it half of whatever the typical value is in the player's handbook?
was hoping armor might be worth something. Yeah, so what was the question? I'm sorry.
Do you want to exchange those items for gold pieces? Gold pieces or gems?
We might as well get the value out of them, and then we can choose to spend it how we want.
Okay, so go ahead and change that out. Kivish or Lykarr, do either of you have any interest here?
Not strongly.
No, I can't see any spells that I'm really super keen on having.
Okay.
All the spells that I really, really like are spells that I cast myself.
Very well. So you make some coin off of those treasure items that you found and the basilisk guy that you harvested. Chip Vonders bids you a fair adieu. Till next time we meet.
Just curious, though. Was there any profit at all from the ship doing its thing that came to the captain? Personal profit? No.
Actually, you kind of lost a little bit.
Well, I'll kill some people later.
Yeah, there definitely was a potential for profit, but unfortunately, after the cost of upkeeping the ship, paying the crew, food, supplies, repairs, everything, you actually lost a little bit in Sumner Field.
Whenever I'm not there to keep an eye on them, to just drink their profit away.
Hey, well, they say both they're black holes for money.
That's all right. I will definitely make a profit on this, even if I have to plunder a damn ship in piracy. I'm gonna make some money on this adventure.
That's why they used to pay sailors like a month's advance on the next trip, so that the guys would start out the next voyage like already a month in debt, and they'd know they'd have some guaranteed sailors for the next trip coming back. They wouldn't just like lose them all in port.
Yeah. Well,
continuing onwards on the journey, I think we've got another day or so here to get to Norville's Rock. Probably a good day and a half to get to Norville's Rock. Are you guys going to steer clear of Tarrowtown proper?
Yeah.
Okay. Probably. So that's not too hard to do. All you cut off here to the right. Sedge continues northbound, and you just keep heading eastward. Eventually, you get onto these thinner tributaries, and you anchor your ship at a dwarven. It's like a half dwarven. I shouldn't say half. Yeah, it's probably like half dwarven. Some halfling, some humans. There's a little bit of a mix. Dwarf and halfling are the predominant races, but it's a small river village. It's not even a village, really. That's probably not the right way to put it. It's more like an outpost. It's like an outpost plus some additional shacks and whatnot from Norville's Rock. And then there's just a road that's it's kind of a rocky uprise, like a what am I trying to say here? Like a pile, like a flattened out pile of rock and gravel and such that you could take a whole carriage if you wanted from the outpost to Norville's Rock itself.
Oh, a jetty or a.
Well, it's a road. It's a road,
crossing?
but think of
Okay.
here. Let me get my actual. Okay, I mean it's a road, but instead of like being down in the mucky ground, they've got it kind of like graveled up. So it's kind of like it's a high road or a highway, really, is what it is. Yeah. So you take the highway. It's not a long trek, and you make it into Norville's Rock, probably by nearing nightfall. Norville's Rock, fabled home of the swamp dwarves. So it is a mighty tor, rocky, kind of a small mountain, like a rocky mount that's just coming up out of the marshlands, and there are structures, buildings that are all clustered around the outside and the base, and then going inside as well. There are internal areas. The internal settlements are for the ruling clans, the noble dwarves. Also, there's a different side of Norville's Rock that has entryways into mines, and the noble clans control the mines as well.
I was going to ask, how rich are these swamp dwarves, and what is their main export?
Mm-hmm.
Hog
Bog. There is quite a bit of bog iron. So the wealthiest clan is called Clan Mithrilian, and the Mithrilians have a mine of precious metals: gold, silver, platinum, mithril, etc. They also have an alliance with a noble human house Rodvin of the city of Sumnerfield. A very old clan, very conservative, extremely traditional, quite rich, and their soldiers also have the best armaments. But there are three great clans. There's also Clan Alder, which is produces lumber, spices, alchemical reagents. They have an alliance with the Woad folk of the Weeping Woods. As well, there's Clan Halfgrey, and they are the largest producers of iron and coal. They as well have an alliance outside of Norville's Rock. They have an alliance with the Greenscales, a lizard folk tribe. Lizard folk are pretty dwindling in this age in Dreckengrim. They were never a large group of people to begin with. But the Greenscales are really like the only remaining proper tribe of lizard folk. So they've got an alliance with Clan Halfgrey. But there are other factions. You know, there are minor clans beholden to the High Ones. There's the Fingard, which are these giant lizard riders, dwarven soldiers that protect Norville's Rock and the highway and these nearby areas.
May have to ask you to repeat some of that at a future time,
Sure.
so I can get them into my notes.
Sure. And if you have other specific questions, let me know. Kivish will probably be the one with the majority of the firsthand knowledge.
Yeah.
So Kivish, you walk into the area of the dwarven settlement here, and that nice, humid swamp air is just a sweet scent to your nostrils.
That smell like a summertime creek bed, kind of earthy, a little bit mineral, a little bit vegetal, kind of watery. Kind of
a very familiar scent to you. Yeah. Smells like home. Entirely different than what Merkelon's jaw was, all dry and badlands like.
Indeed.
If the jaw was Merkelon's, bony protrusion, then the swamplands up here, known as Din's Morris, are like his brain matter.
Ah, yes. That's where all the important stuff goes on.
The air is thick with the dwarvish tongue. So you're hearing that everywhere you're going. For those that do not speak the language, it's just like they're just hammering in your ears everywhere you walk. But probably to Kivish, finally some folk that know how to speak clearly with good, strong, clear pronunciation in a rhythmic way.
Like the episode of King of the Hill, where you see things through the eyes of Boomhauer and everybody's talking normally. Or no, sorry, everybody's talking like him and he's the only one talking normally.
Does anyone else here speak Dwarvish?
Not I.
Nope, not me.
Well, I do.
All right, so we'll see if Kivish will be a patient soul and do some translating here.
Well, I think the first order of business is my ship made your trek here much swifter. We should see about possibly making some profit for my ship and myself.
That is a good point. The trading actually would have occurred at the outpost there at the river where the docks are. So give me a roll. What you got?
Tell me what I'm rolling.
You tell me. What are you rolling?
What
kind of wheeler and dealer are you?
Oh, I thought I was just asking whether a percentage dice or a D20. If it's a D20...
Give me a skill.
Yep, I can...
What do you got? You got persuasion? Yeah, you got intimidation, deception, acrobatics?
Deception. How about some deception? I like it.
All right. Captain Knox is back at the helm. Go ahead.
All right. Captain Knox with a holy moly. All right. That's going to be 25. Nat one it?
Can you see?
Is that nat one?
Yes. Can you see? Okay.
That's a very golden one.
I just like the crew's all down because they fucked up from last time, and I'm just like, let me show you how it's done, boys.
Very well. You pull off a profit of, I'll give you 500 gold pieces.
Is that personal money, or is that like just a representation of what the crew
That is the actual profit that you pull off after everything needs to be, after all your expenses and such.
and I can put that in my personal funds, or should I leave a ship fund?
You're the captain. How do you do it?
I would probably like to have a ship fund if this is a ship like profit of like the goods and stuff. I don't want to just pocket my own winnings and leave the ship destitute and like falling apart.
So you're not going to the dwarven gambling den and just like all in with 500 coins.
I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not doing that yet, but I will set some of it aside because I believe strongly in having a fund for when the times are hard.
Okay.
So
a wise captain you are.
that's why they can't get rid of me. I'm the one that actually keeps the ship running. All right, I'm gonna put the ship fund at 500 gold, and then I will tap into it if I need to, but unlikely.
Okay, very nice. So we're here in Norgle's Rock. You all are, you're walking through. I'll give you a quick little bit here. I guess I'll add on to the quick bit, and then we'll let Adam tell us a bit about Kivish, or maybe some ideas you have about Kivish's, where he lives and such. So you can most likely go inside of the High Rock. So when I say High Rock, that's the actual mountain with entrances tunneling inside of it, and there's settlement. Part of the settlement's interior, so that part's actually called High Rock. And then there's the outside area, which has a few little neighborhoods with their own specific names, and they're like hill structures and swamp structures and stilt things going out into marshy terrain. The dwarves will be fairly generous to whomever is obeying their laws. To those who are, being of benefit to the city. You've just done some trading, and I don't think they quite realize that you just completely pulled the wool over their eyes. But as far as they're concerned, we've got a nice merchant. Maybe you've traded here before. Obviously, some areas will be off limits. That's to be expected in any settlement. But by and large, this is a very high. It's a well-functioning, not big, but medium-sized, well-functioning and well-guarded settlement here. The overall tone of Norgle's Rock is about what you'd expect. It's got its industrious dwarven nature, and then it's got its more raucous side, which will have to do with things like drinking, gambling, games of strategy, athletics contests. There are gambling dens. There are many tavern. There's a fighting pit. They've got many craftsmen. You've got craftsmen just trying to sell things everywhere you go. You've got peddlers trying to like sell you things at every step, whether it's like, some kind of like sausage on a stick or some cheese that they've like, roasted over a flame, or maybe they're trying to sell you, like ale or wine and just trinkets. There's like little dwarven kids, like homeless dwarven kids. They're like, they'll polish your armor and like repair things for like a silver coin. Just everywhere you go, you're getting hounded.
And as in most cities where you don't speak the language and people are everywhere, I'm just like, stay away. I'm like keeping people at arm's length.
Lykarr, what's your reaction to all this?
I'm going to do my best to just ignore most of them.
Okay, you ignore the various types of peddlers. Kivish, what about you? What's your take on all this? How do you go about it?
So Kivish is walking along, apparently not looking at anybody in particular, but conversing fluidly with someone, often multiple someones at a time, just sort of as he's walking along. And he in particular it's gonna kind of make a slow meandering way, like the nature of a river, winding through various shortcuts, and ultimately traversing pretty much the entire length of the town this way. Eventually going to the section known as the Empty Hive, which is kind of on the back end of the mountain from where you enter.
Mhm.
And it's not a very deep section, which means it's one of the earlier ones, because it was one of the first that was delved. And it's where clans that might not be as great as they once were, but some of the older names like Sulberdal and Arkanthraz and Erlingrud, and of course the clan Ursvamp, which is his own clan, all make their homes, and where, people might recognize a druid and perhaps sell him ale for the low price of free, or at least not, with this fancy silver and gold money. And so he's going to steadily make his way there, occasionally dropping a couple of words here and there. Perhaps they're, asking prices. Perhaps they are asking how people are doing. Perhaps they're curses. He's
So
not, like,
sure,
directly
you and your
translating all of
allies
it.
walk into the Empty Hive. You're greeted by almost everyone there knows you. They give you ale. They ask you if you need food. Do you have a lot of family here? What's your family situation like?
What family I do have are still here. Ursvamp was never one of the biggest clans, never one of the most prolific in terms of their breeding, but I think Kivish probably had at least a good 2 or 3 siblings, if not a few more. His parents likely still live there. Probably, in fact, Dwarfs live a long time. His probably at least 3 greats of grandparents also dwell within their ancestral holdings, and probably at least maybe a great or 2 of his own grandchildren are there. Although he himself has never actually had children, so they'd be great grand nephews.
So Kivish himself has no children, never been married.
No.
Okay.
His only commitment of that nature is to the land and to his dreams.
So let's get a big meal together then. Your family is welcoming you back. They're happy to see you, and they call all the relatives and the neighbors and the friends and some of the other small clans that share this same district, and they welcome your odd tall friends that you have here. Let's see, the Nox is human and Lykar's half elf.
He is.
Yes. Okay. Great. So you all have a nice big feast meal with Clan Ursvamp, and there's much dwarven food, which is quite hearty and smoky and spiced with all sorts of things that they've collected from the bounty of the swamp. So you get just like a nice down-home bayou meal. And
I had Lykarr a broiled eel folded into an intricate knot, and instruct him that it'll cure all his ills, implying a motion like this. I mean, I know it's actually already cured functionally, but this is, figuratively cure your ills, like, hangovers and whatnot.
Yum, eel.
So I think there's a pun in there somewhere. There's like cured eel, and he's like, "This will cure your eels."
Yeah.
All right, so
there's translate well.
There's much feasting. The 2 non-dwarvish speaking, you're getting all kinds of strange sounds and guttural consonants clanging in your ears, and lots of. What's that?
You know where they probably speak common? The gambling and alehouse.
I imagine, a few family members, they try to say a few things you in common, and they're like, "Hello, how you be?" Things like that. And it's a very exaggerated attempt at the common tongue. They probably are pretty good at common, to be honest, but it's not the traditional tongue.
Yeah.
And they give you a lot of food. Like, you're stuffed, and they're still trying to give you how do you grow so tall if you don't eat?
Well, good genes.
Yes, gems are good. I like diamonds, emerald, ruby, sapphire. Many of the family and friends gather around Kivish, and you are the druid of Clan Ursvamp. And they need your guidance. They need your spiritual guidance. These are troubled times. There's talk of an undead army coming from the north. What should we do? Should we make preparations for war? Is it a spiritual war? Can we kill them with axes and hammers?
Oh, no, Rundim. Get your hand away from me. That thing will go away on its own. Just stop picking at it. We must prepare to the best that we can. I have seen men who were dead, who were acting not so dead. It's actually probably clear that my time away has, rubbed off. I'm like occasionally having to think about some words. Maybe I'm slightly unused to my own family's accents. They're like, just a little bit like, oh yeah, that's right. That's how we say that. It's like weird. I never knew we said y'all quite so much. But yeah, basically explaining that literal army of undead people. What was it about? Like maybe 2 weeks ago in terms of total time that's passed.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks ago.
All right, so like a fortnight and a half, which is not long at all as far as given how fast things can move. So yeah, he's going to explain that the rock is defensible. It's a mountain, but that especially this clan should, fortify their own holdings. They should, if it comes down to it, take pity on poor Clan Erlingrud, because that what's it called? I think he'd refer to it as like the Tower of Hubris that their leader has built over the last 50 some odd years. Won't really protect them from anything. It's kind of just a big bunch of wood all stacked up.
So you give them the advice that they should make preparations for potential threats or attacks of undead or other strange enemies coming from the Northlands. And of course, the dwarves immediately go into analyzing this in every possible way. And like they argue with each other and start making all kinds of claims and accusations. Well-intentioned probably, but many heads are butting. But there is talk of this rising army of the Mer Queen, as well as some other factions of power that are, from Silver Citadel to Sumner Field. There's some different factions that are rising up, all in, is it defense? Who's going to ally with who? There's all these kinds of questions. They're also talking about the situation going on in Tarrowtown as they've got a civil uprising playing out. The dwarves seem to be under the impression that Rosagold was killed. They're like, oh yeah, she was executed in public, and her body's still hanging there. But I don't know. The Halfling River Merchant said that he's heard different stories.
I have a friend who would not stand for such a thing. I do not know how he fares, but it is safe to say that he would not let that happen. But what concern do we have of it if there are armies of dead men marching to us?
Yeah, it is a strange time, a very strange time. There's other things that your family's talking about that they are telling you about. In 3 weeks' time, there is going to be a clans moot. So all of the clans, the major clans of Norgle's Rock, as well as some other outlier clans and folk, are going to be meeting here. The leaders are going to meet for a big clans moot. They've also said that there's supposed to be like a wizard, like one of the archmagisters from the Silver Citadel, is supposed to be coming to the Clan's Moot, and everyone's going to be talking about the situation with this undead army and what's really happening, what they're going to do. This is a regular meeting that occurs. So this is just the current bid. That's the current main topic.
Esper, is this all going on in Dwarven?
I can be translating
Yes,
at least bits of it, depending on what I deem relevant.
Oh, you can tell us about it later. I imagine me and Lykarr like looking at each other, kind of like, like we don't understand what's going on. And if you don't mind, Esper, I have a little scene kind of planned that I was just talking with Dennis at some point after you're done with this little bit of the scene.
Okay, yeah. I'll just finish out some of the rumors, and then you guys go to that.
Yeah.
All right. So there's going to be a Clan's Moot in 3 weeks. Strange talk of undead army, uprising in Tarot Town. There's also conflict among the swamp peoples. Now, there's pretty much always conflict among the swamp peoples, so this is not breaking news. But they just, it's the current talk. So there are the Green Scales, which is this last of the lizard folk tribes. And they've been wanting to build a town for a while. They want to actually build a proper settlement. They want to build it at a place called Adder's Tor. It's one of the smaller tors in the swamp. Norville's Rock, and then what's the other one? There's one. It's on the map. Here, I'll pull it up real quick. Okay. There we go. Okay, so Norville's Rock is the largest tor, and then down here, all the way to the east, is a different one called. Where are we at? There we are, Black Tor. So Black Tor is this one here. It used to be a big coal mine, and it's literally the rock is nearly black. So those are the 2 big tors, but there are smaller ones. So the lizard folk want to build a town at Adder's Tor. There's another swamp people called the Fume Weavers. They're an elemental type people, small things, mephits really. And they've got some kind of issue. They're doing some kind of weird ritual out in the swamps, and they've had some skirmishes with the lizard folk. There's also Clan Talazark, which Clan Talazark dwells at Black Tor, and their master is a dragon, a swamp dragon. So they're kobolds, followers of this black dragon called Vexavar. So there's always issues with these kind of 3 main swamp peoples, but apparently there's been more issues as of late, and these lizard folk are saying we need to get a proper town now because we need a defensible home. That's all. If you guys want to collect more rumors, we can kind of get into that later, but those are the kind of the basics. What about Nox and Lykarr? What are you thinking there?
I'm just picturing a pretty quick scene, because there's a lot of Dwarven talk. Basically, we're the only 2 non-dwarves in this little area. We eventually kind of break off from the group and talk among ourselves a little bit, just to have someone to talk to. And I think I'd bring up Noxiqual would actually bring this up with Lykarr when we're alone, and he'd say, so Lykarr, it's now that you've cured your curse, what's your plans for the future? I'm honestly a little bit surprised that a mage of your power would come along with us on such a whimsical, perhaps, adventure.
I have, as you well know, the Telvantis family. My grandfather aligned with the Merqueen during her rise to power, and most of my family have been hunted and killed, and I have no friends. And the couple friends that I do have, I value highly. and you have helped me get down to the Ambrosia Temple to cure my curse. So therefore, I feel that I would like to stay with you for a while if you'll have me in your company, and maybe together we can make some profit, and maybe down the line I can restore honor to the Talvantis name. That's my long-term goal.
Prophet, now you're speaking my language. I'd be glad to have a mage of your power. I've seen the magics that you command. Going unseen, destruction, powers, storms. Yes, that's very useful to me. But this talk of the Mer Queen rising again, that is not good. You think this curse, perhaps, and your family and the Mer Queen rising all at the same time, you think this is something that you need to deal with, perhaps?
Perhaps I have thought it is more than a coincidence that I had of the curse that I had upon me with the rise of the undead army. But I do not know for sure at this time. I am hoping eventually to make my way to the Silver Citadel, where maybe some people would still be friendly to my name as they may have known my grandfather from back in the days.
Well, I'm going to assume, I'm taking a liberty here, that some of the stuff was translated from earlier to us.
Yeah.
I'm going to say there's supposedly someone from the Silver Citadel coming here now. You think they might know you, or of your grandfather or your family?
Possibly, it depending on who it would be. It has been a number of years ago, but maybe they would recognize the Talvantis name.
Do you intend to meet or look into meeting with them, or will you avoid them?
We shall see who they are,
Mhm.
and then we will see what they are proposing, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I can only say this. I have your back, and who has my back? So at least there's that. And the dwarf, for the odd fellow he is, he doesn't seem that bad, so he probably has your back as well. Let us perhaps get some drinks and put this serious talk aside for a while.
We shall see what comes to pass, and I appreciate your friendship.
And we kind of like pat each other on the shoulders, a little bonding, and go back to the inside.
Now, out of character here, do people recognize the Talvantis name favorably usually, or would people from the Silver Citadel be more or less the only ones that would?
Most people think that most of the Talvantis family has been killed off.
I see.
They're not held in high regard, so
Right.
And there's some that downright don't like them.
Right.
But as time goes by, I guess the hatred dims.
Right.
Over the generations. So.
And as the night grows on, Kivish, do you continue administering to your people here your wisdom? I mean, you're seen as somewhat of a priest among your people.
Right. For a time, though, I would really like to go back to my hut at some point, because I do actually live more properly in a hut that's like on kind of a hummock, just a little bit away from the outskirts of town.
Sure, your private retreat.
Yeah.
I believe you feel a deep calling to return there.
I figured.
So once you have done all of your merrymaking, and it's into the wee hours of the morning, and many have gone back to their homes to sleep, you make your way to your hut, which is there on the verge of the bogs and the sedges, and you've got the sounds of frogs croaking in the night and things buzzing in the air.
noise they make.
Uh-huh.
Some frogs. Yeah.
And I believe there's a certain dark pool that is your. It's like a scrying pool or
Say dark.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I heard a word that interests me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, it's a little bit away from my hut, although I'll probably be stopping there at some point as well.
Are
Though
you
the
gonna-
first order of business, just being the practical dwarf that I am, is the hut's 2 chimneys. The one shaped like an owl's head and the one shaped like a heron's head, whose beaks are empty of any issuing forth smoke. And that means that there is a hearth in need of working into an actual fire so that I can burn the stuff that keeps the mosquitoes at bay and like cook things and maybe do some like ritual spell ingredient prep or
Mm-hmm.
anything you need a fire for, which is almost everything.
You stoke your hearth and go about tending to your druidic rites, and the sense of being back at home, back to your own in your proper element comes to you. A deep sense of peace.
Did they follow me? I don't know that I have told them to follow me, but
That was going to be my question: if you took us with you or you went alone.
right.
Because we're lost here without you.
Yeah, I would definitely would not stop you from following me to the hut. It's probably a
Toby the
better
Lion
place for
speaks
you.
Dwarvish.
Kivish, would you like to invite them to your retreat?
Yeah.
Or should they stay shack up at your family's clan home?
I'll invite them here so that they don't get into trouble. Though I will point out multiple times there's only one bed and like point to some
Hey.
spots on the floor.
If you don't invite me, I'm just going to seduce all your family members of the opposite sex, and you'll never get rid of me then.
All right. Good luck, but no, I'd have you guys here with me. Since with them you would be doing a whole lot more like waving and nodding and trying to figure out what the word for food is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, though I am after things seem settled, I'm gonna essentially tell you guys BRB and kind of just quickly, quietly step out the door and disappear behind some trees into the darkness.
You make your way to your deep pool and look into those midnight waters. And maybe you have some kind of little ritual that you do here.
Mm-hmm.
I'd pat Tynan's head and say, remember that, and like point down at it and then look around and see if there's anything stirring in there or if it's all just quiet tonight.
There is a stir. Ripples on the water, and then rising up is a deep-eyed, eerily beautiful fey woman whose hair just falls down, 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 and mixes in with the swirling dark water. And she is very lithe and with strange curvatures about her body. And she grins at seeing you. She is Murexaa. Kivish, I've missed you so. Why did you leave me here alone for so long?
I have been here and there. My dreams have led me to places far from here. I met Morpheus. I think I mentioned.
This is wonderful. His blessing. Did you gain it? Do you have his favor?
I did.
I'm so happy. But why didn't you respond to me?
Oh, that was you who did that.
I sent a message to Prince Hopper.
Yes. He took a coin from me. I would like it back if that is not a problem with you.
You gave him a coin and he didn't relay my message to you?
He asked for a coin, and he said,
Stubborn. So she kind of fumes about stubborn Prince Hopper,
I assume she probably speaks better frog than I do.
the picky one that he is, puffed up and full of himself. Have you brought me anything from Merkelan's jaw?
I pull a rock. Actually, wait, no, I have a basilisk eye. I have the other one that Noxiqual didn't take. Yeah, so I pull out the little jar that's in, and I open it and sort of hold it out as if to dump it into the pool as an offering.
Ooh. She looks over the eyeball of the basilisk. Thank you. I love it. Did you bring anything else?
Are you aware that I was almost made into a mountain fighting that?
I'm imagining you as a statue now.
I'm trying to think. What else did I actually explicitly say that I took? Not much. I pull out a rock, assuming I had time at some point to a rock, and maybe like a handful of like cactus spines, like kind of, you know, the sort of like flowery looking parts on prickly pears, where if you walk by one and aren't careful, you'll end up with like your entire pant leg covered in them. So I assume I had a few lying around that I picked off somewhere at some point.
I have an egg, too. I totally forgot about an egg.
Oh, right. Magic.
Just sold that to the merchant.
Yeah, the strange egg that Kikon One Eye had at the ritual site.
I believe it was like a stinking cloud kind of alchemy.
Yeah, there was something toxic about it.
Poison.
She, Murexaa, takes these other gifts and she kind of oohs and ahs. And what a weird place you went to. But oh, Kivish, you're always so stingy with your gifts. I made you something. You're going to really like it.
And what is that?
But promise you're going to get me something better next time.
Actually, let me just take a look at my inventory and see if I do actually have any like interesting curios marked down that I took.
You gotta be more careful in writing all this down.
Well, I mean, I wrote down everything I took. I don't think, though, that I really had that much stuff.
Careful note taking, especially of inventory, one of the greatest adventurer skills that exists.
Yeah. No, I didn't really pick any stuff that I didn't already bring with me.
Okay, so she, you know, she whines a bit about you always being so stingy, and she's like, I've got something very special for you, but you had to promise you're gonna bring me something back better next time.
Actually, I wonder if I could actually use a dream to contact Morpheus and get him to sign her autograph or say hi.
Wow.
Okay.
Anyway,
responsible druidry.
Okay, so we'll when you go to sleep, we'll go to that.
All right.
So yeah, she kind of like gives you the fussy, pouty thing. And I don't know why I like you so much, but if you're not careful, one day you're gonna lose me. And then she just like totally snaps and like, and then she's all giggly again, and she's like, she puts her hands up and she kind of whispers into her hands, and she makes some noises, almost a horse-like noises, and she opens her hands, and there's a little glittery swirl of magic, almost like mini fireflies. She says, I've been working on this for you. It's magic.
Well, what is it? Aside from magical fireflies, is there something in there?
So she whispers some things, and the fireflies swirl around you and infuse with you. Ooh. And she whispers, she kind of like, you know, slinks up out of the pool and whispers in your ear, and she's telling you the magic words and the incantations of this of a spell. So she's teaching you a spell here, and It's different. She's actually infusing you with like a fey, what do you call it? Innate spell casting, or maybe in 3rd edition terms, spell-like ability. So you have a once per day spell that you can. It's its own special thing that you can cast innately. So when you cast the spell, just a regular action spell, Tynan will get dark vision and see invisibility, just like the spell see invisibility. So it lasts for an hour. And she makes some joke about, she doesn't want your little pony stumbling around in the darkness. And maybe, just maybe, that sorcerer is going to do some tricky stuff, and you need to see where he's going.
Well, I mean, he still does have longer dark vision than I do, unless Tynan somehow stacks on mine. But yeah. All right.
Am I the sorcerer in question?
Presumably.
Okay.
Unless, yeah, I don't know who she means.
I am a sorcerer.
That's why I thought
it might be the sorcerer.
Sure.
I was like, dark vision longer than yours? I don't know.
Well, you're the other one. Although I guess we all have dark vision, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
Mine's 120 feet though.
Right, you're the one with the longest. Yeah.
So she teaches you the spell. She gives you a little kiss, and she's telling you, like, you need to be bold. Make me proud, Kivish. We'll speak again soon. Something tells me you won't be staying here for long.
Cool.
She slinks back down into the water, promising that she'll talk again to you she'll speak again with you sometime soon. So let's go to your dream then.
All right.
You're going to bed. You're preparing yourself mentally, spiritually. Make a wisdom check.
All right. Proficient or not?
Just wisdom, not a skill.
All right. So it's not great. That's only a 9, but it is a 12.
12. Okay. You have a dream that night, Kivish, which you often do. Oh, Circle of Dreams, Druid. In your dream, you are out in the swamp, and you're being attacked by a horde of small dwarves, small even for dwarves, and they have skulls for heads. You're being swarmed over by these little skull-headed dwarves, vicious things, and you're fighting. And whenever you kill one, 2 more spring up in its place. It's a very frustrating and difficult struggle, and your situation gets more and more dire. Then you see a march of skulls rolling out of the mouth of a large swamp cave. Inside the cave, a skeletal magician is fighting against some manner of demon dragon. It's a strange creature, not easily identifiable as what specifically it is. When your situation is becoming hopeless, you're calling out to Morpheus there, and he does appear. Murexaa does as well. They both appear and they both come to your aid. And they're helping you fight against these skull-headed munchkins, pygmies almost, really. And just as you achieve victory against these skull dwarves, the Merqueen appears, swimming up through the bogs, a mermaid, merfolk, lich, old fish woman thing. A very unsettling presence. Like you can just, it feels like the swamp plants are just wilting by her very presence. And she shrieks, and it just chills you to the bone. And Morpheus shouts. He tries to shout against, but he gets overwhelmed by agony, and he's banished back to his realm. And Murexaa she grabs onto you, and you both meld into the land. You just meld and become one with nature and escape. And the dream ends there, and you awaken in the darkness, still almost hearing the echoes of this wail in your mind. And that cave, you have seen that cave before. You've never been in it, but you know of it. You've seen it on the map of the area.
Right.
It's this cave up here.
Mm.
Does it have a name, or like a local name, or a nickname, or something that I might know it as?
It is called Dirge Caverns.
Question, Esper. That
You
omen
know it
box,
to be it's big. It's really kind of one. It's like a large tor as well, but it's not as tall as the others. But from what you know, it's a cavern network called Dirge Caverns.
I have a
Alright.
question.
Yeah.
Omen Mox looks like half one of those temples, just the same style of Greek, kind of temple and all.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does bear a resemblance. The map icon bears a resemblance to the Ambrosia Temple, the Temple at the End of the World, though it is represented as a ruin.
Mm. Any connections to either of those temples that I'm aware of?
It looks like it. Make a history check.
Sure. That's only going to be.
Can I actually aid him on that, being from the local area?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Alright,
was
so
going to
I
ask you about it.
give
Yeah.
him advantage.
Yes. So you can aid him, and you don't need to make a check for this instance of aiding because you have a lot of local knowledge.
Right.
So go ahead and do an advantage roll.
Advantage. Gotcha. Well, that's better with advantage. Only a 14 history.
You know nothing specific. It does appear to be in the same vein of temples, so there's got to be at least a loose association.
Mm-hmm.
But you know no details.
Well, if we're going in that direction, maybe that's something I'll get a chance to check.
Mm-hmm.
Out of character, I definitely planned on going there.
Well, my character starts like plotting that if you make any suggestions on me heading east.
So yeah, when I wake up from the dream, I reach for the skin of ale I keep somewhere nearby and drain the remainder of it and give it a little shake and remark to myself about how I need to refill it tomorrow in the morning.
You lull yourself back to sleep, and you do not sleep well. When you awake the next morning, you don't remember having any other dreams,
Weird.
which may be quite unusual for you. But you don't feel well rested. There's an unsettling feeling. You can the nightmare haunts you.
Did I sleep well?
I imagine so. I don't know. You're in a pretty new place. You tell me.
Yes.
Yeah?
Like a baby.
Okay.
Swamp air is very restful. But yeah, any sleep without constant dreams is weird.
Yeah.
Slightly unusual.
Well, for a druid of dreams, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So let's just chat, have a bit of a little group huddle here. There are some different things going on. There's going to be a clans moot in 3 weeks. Archmagister from the Silver Citadel apparently is going to be attending with some of the other prominent authority figures from the major clans.
Is the Archmagister a role to himself, like a person, or is that like a title that a bunch of them have?
The Silver Citadel has one Archmagister for each school of magic.
Do we know which school is coming?
You don't, and his family didn't mention anything.
That's fair.
There is talk, of course, of the Rising Merqueen army and some other factions kind of vying for power and stating their opinions of what needs to be done. I think it sounds like Tarot Town was not a really big interest to you all. I didn't expect it to be. There's some conflict with the Swamp Peoples. The Greenscales, who are allied with one of the major clans, are wanting to build a settlement. And that's, I guess we'll say those kind of the major hooks at the moment, Kivish's dream being foremost. If you all want to pursue any of those, we can talk about that. If you want to gather more rumors, gather more information. So I'd like to kind of turn it over to you all, or maybe have kind of a group huddle of what does the party feel is worth pursuing at this point.
Well, so well, in and out of character, definitely Dirge Caverns is an area of immediate interest. That Clans moot, though, is also important because, staying abreast of the goings on in Norville's Rock is something that a well-to-do druid, even being a druid and not like a more like society dwarf, should probably know about. And then, on top of that, at least making some sort of a rounds to maybe, because he's not a stranger to the other swamp people, so making like some visits to each of them to see like how things are going, and if there are any disturbances would probably be part of what he would normally do when he comes back to the peninsula.
So Kivish wants to understand more about this dream, possibly adventure at Dirge Caverns. He wants to check in with other folk of the swamp, maybe at least the Greenscales, as they have something of an association with Norville's Rock. And gather information.
To know stuff.
I have some thoughts, but Lykarr, did you have anything that interests you?
Well, I'm definitely interested in attending the clan moot. That's in 3 weeks.
Okay.
And seeing who is coming there from the Silver Citadel, since I made a little bit of the backstory about my grandfather being a member of the Silver Citadel. Other than that, not a whole lot. I'm interested. Where exactly is the Merqueen's army located right now? Or we don't know that.
Well, that is a good question. Where exactly is the army located? You know of the location of her castle. Everyone knows that. I mean, that's like, the fairy tale that every kid hears. So it's at the northern part here.
Up there. Yep.
Don't go down there and say Bloody Mary 3 times. Or...
So yeah, the Merqueen's castle is there, and it's got all kinds of spooky tales and legends surrounding that place. And that attack that you saw of this, the army of undead, did come from a northern direction.
It's also really interesting that at least the map icon of that cave kind of near the Merqueen Citadel is similar in nature to the one of Dirge Caverns.
Icon.
And I think possibly also to Devil's Den a little bit. Well, not so much. But
it does have a swampy look to it. Yeah. And some of this map, obviously, I need to still do some work on it. This area up here is also known to be a swampy area. There's a lot of rivers feeding into wetlands up here. It's a cold swamp. So yours is, well, during winter, Din's Morris is also very cold, probably snows even. Dreckengrim gets quite cold during winter, the whole land. But of course, in the south, the summers can get warmer. Up north, it's pretty always cold. So this here is not a very pleasant swamp area. Was there something in there? Lykarr was talking about gathering some information about the Archmagister. Okay. Nox, what are you thinking? You're a man of wealth and opportunity.
Profit, not necessarily wealth. Yes, I was actually going to see if I could find some ways that my crew could profit while they're just sitting around here. If there's any jobs and things, in Norville's Rock that people need done for, here's how I look at it. There's probably things that we can do that may benefit people, but we should get paid for doing them at the same time as benefiting ourselves for doing them. So I'll keep an ear out of like, oh, information about the Mer Queen's army location. Well, sounds like we're going to investigate that anyways. So if we find that information, we bring it to you. We get like 500 gold. Sounds like a good deal to me.
Hmm. Are you more interested in your crew maintaining the ship and being ready to sail, or on them actually picking up a labor contract in Norville's Rock?
If it's profitable, of course, I'd rather them keep working. I I am just one member of the crew, a very valuable member, and I keep the ship running, but I
Mhm.
want the ship to be not idle unless there's a purpose to it being idle.
Okay. So on that note, Clan Half Gray. Clan Half Gray has mining work. You want to send your crew to the mines?
So long as they aren't like completely like we're gonna mutiny if we get sent to the mines. I'd say make some money so that they can have some fun
If there's a check involved, I'd like to somehow try and aid that if I can by
in the mines.
my knowledge of mining and of Clan Half Gray.
Maybe
Uh,
negotiate a better wage.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Okay,
with
so let's say at the you're still in Norgle's Rock proper itself. So you're just gathering information at this moment. You can present things to your crew afterwards.
that. Yeah, seems good.
Okay, go for it, Kivish.
Oh, what kind of a check would that be?
History check.
History. All right.
Yeah. I'll give you advantage as well.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a history of your very own hometown.
Makes
All
sense.
right. Well, I needed the advantage because with advantage that makes it a 19, and otherwise it would have been a 9.
Mm-hmm. Clan Half Gray is incredibly industrious, incredibly hardworking, a fairly conservative clan, not as extreme as Mithrillian, but I mean they'll definitely put his crew to work big time. They produce lots of iron, lots of coal. A very practical clan. They're also a very athletic clan as well. So the way that they find a lot of their enjoyment in blowing off steam is actually with athletic games. And obviously, there are other participants in athleticism throughout all the different clans, but like Half Gray is just known to be like the top dogs when it comes to wrestling and shot put and hammer throwing and all the different
Dwarven games involve throwing something or another. Like at least 5 different something throw.
Yeah, and I'm sure there are different drinking competitions and weightlifting and beard growing, and they've got all kinds of things. So they're very, very competitive, very athletic. You do have concern that his crew, while they are seasoned sailors, they might not quite have the constitution that dwarves have for mining. I mean, dwarves are specifically known to be very fortuitous and hard and hardy.
Where they can, not have to swing too hard too long.
How about this, if I may? Why don't we negotiate instead of doing the actual mining themselves? Perhaps my men are much more better at packaging and like putting the stuff into shipments, ready to be moved and transported. Transportation, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And
Clan Half Gray has a very efficient means of transportation and shipment of their goods.
damn, I was hoping to negotiate a
It's
shipment.
it's really just you just come up against a bunch of complication and frustration when you bring up the subject.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't mind, like, chewing on metals and like swilling quicksilver, then maybe they could be involved in refining stuff, like ore refining.
The dwarves largely scoff at the idea of some humans coming in here and trying to do dwarven work. But hey, if you want them down there cracking rocks, they can use the extra bodies.
I don't know.
Sounds like a morale lowerer to me.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling it from my crew. Are there any more, shall we say, off the book kind of jobs.
Sure. That was the only thing you just kind of came across right away. If you'd like to dig in a little bit, make a skill check of your choice.
What seems appropriate here? If I'm going to be digging in to that, let's go with persuasion. Because what I'm really trying to do is find some people who are a little bit less reputable, perhaps, who might have some jobs for men of my, nature.
Mm-hmm.
That's only a 9, unfortunately.
You're just having a bunch of frustration communicating, expressing yourself, and understanding properly the dwarves. Kivish, Lykarr, you got any bright ideas?
Well, if we're going to be here for long enough, you could probably be sending your ship up and down river to a whole circuit of different trading ports.
The problem is I need to have goods to sell at those ports, and that requires...
Well, right, like if you wanted to, say, buy some materials off of Clan Halfgrey, and then send your ship downriver to say, oh, hey, whichever port gives you the most for it, sell it there.
In theory, that's exactly how it works. I have 500 gold set aside for just that kind of purpose. But Esper is going to be the one, when I'm not there, who will be like, well, they either made a profit or they completely fucked stuff.
Right.
So, 3 weeks.
It is true. The I guess we'll call it the skill check of your first mate is not as good as yours, but that's to be expected. You're the captain.
True enough. A question: could, within 3 weeks, they make it all the way to what's the southern city again?
Sumnerfield.
Yeah, Sumnerfield.
Sumnerfield, or is it?
And back in 3 weeks.
Most definitely.
What would be something that I feel like would definitely sell and make a good profit in Sumnerfield?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we don't have to bog down too much onto specifics, but what you can do is let's see, what kind of check do we need for that? I'm just going to go with an intelligence check.
Okay.
And this is going to be you acquiring cargo, acquiring trade, just trade goods.
And being a local and knowing what from here might sell well, can I actually aid him on that?
Yep. Right. Kivish is your man all throughout the dwarf town here.
So what does the aid do for me?
Advantage.
Okay. And I'm currently 18.
Yeah, you're both like pooling together both of your knowledge and experience of these different trade locations from Norville's Rock to Sumnerfield, and the stuff your crew just told you of they encountered.
I got an 18 on my intelligence.
Excellent. All right, you can make a good purchase here. How much do you want to invest in your trade goods?
Put 250, half of what my capital, kind of I have.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay, so just a note, if you would, 250 goods. Cargo. Yeah. And I'm sure it'll be easy enough for us to remember that you procured goods that you knew were in demand down in the south.
Well, we'll come back to this or do it between sessions, I'm sure.
Yeah.
At some point.
And you've got these procured. Your crew's getting it loaded into the ship. You talk to your first mate.
Perfect.
You tell them, specifically where to sell these things at, where it's going to get the best prices.
Yep.
And warn them not to get stiffed or talked into anything by Chip Vonders.
Yeah, that Chip. I don't want you hanging out with that boy.
Okay.
I'll give them that mission. That way they're not idle.
Let's go into a few of these branches that we've already opened up, getting some information or at least discussing them. If we want to poke around with some other possible adventure ideas as well, we're all it's open for that as well. But we'll get the ball rolling with Kivish and Lykarr here. Let's go with Lykarr first, since I think that one might play out quicker. So Lykarr, you mentioned that you were interested in getting information about who specifically will be visiting from the Silver Citadel.
Right, to see what Archmagister is coming, and if I would know anything of him. I guess that would be up to you, because basically my long-term goal is he wants to get his family honor back because everybody hates him.
Mm-hmm.
I put 1 gold on the Necromancer, Archmagi.
Anyone going to take up his bet?
I don't really know enough about those fancy silver citadel folk to know or care one way or the other.
Okay.
As long as Lykarr is happy about it.
All right, Lykarr. You can make a skill check if you'd like. Just basically anyone that seems that it could fit for the situation, or that Lykarr would do.
Well, I guess that would
Or have a
probably.
different strategy. Just let me know.
I would assume that would be like an intelligence check, I guess, to figure out who would be coming.
So intelligence would be more a matter of deduction and reasoning. You could try that just in your own mind to kind of, I guess it's so and so. If you want to explicitly gather information, you could use something like persuasion.
If you were going to use intelligence anyways, just use investigation. It's an intelligence-based skill. That makes sense.
Yeah, investigation would probably work good. I got an 18.
Okay, so Lykarr, and you're all together here. So Lykarr and Kivish, probably Kivish is your guide, and he's taking you to the places where people might have the most information. You're gathering bits of talk, and essentially trying to make heads or tails out of what people are saying here. Your best guess does align with Noxiqual's hypothesis. You believe that this person they're talking about is Hansel Gekri, the Archmage of Necromancy, which you saw him at a distance, of course, but you're certain that you saw him leading essentially an army of undead troops to fight against the army from the north, the undead from the north.
Mm-hmm.
So why would he be coming here?
Because there's another army of undead.
Sounds like it would be, yeah.
Sounds logical.
Indeed.
Maybe he's going to try and enlist help.
Well, no, to you it sounds totally illogical, but I have some ideas about how it might make some more sense.
Well, I think that the Necromancer guy, we've heard of him before, and it all kind of pieces together with what he's trying to do to fight the Merqueen. So.
Well, Lykarr and I saw him from afar anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we know he's not a bad guy. He's on our side regarding the undead.
Well,
Using that for fighting the Merqueen.
Haven't really met the guy. It's a little soon to make that
Fair.
sort of judgment.
Fair.
But yeah, I think he's worth meeting. He could be a powerful ally.
He was against the Merqueen's forces. There's at least that. There's that to be said. What else? Whatever else may be, is still a bit up in the air.
Tell me about the dream that you had, though, Kivish. Like, what's that all about?
Well, there is a cave to the east of here.
Mm-hmm.
You had talked about a ruined temple on the map. It is not quite as far as that, but this cave,
It's so
in
special.
my dreams, it was full of skulls and skull men and living skulls and things which did not seem very good for the land.
Skulls.
Except as fertilizer.
As undead, or symbolic of undead.
Yeah.
That not be where the army of undead might be layering.
Yeah, indeed.
Perhaps going there alone would be not prudent. Perhaps we might enlist some aid.
So with that in mind, Kivish is going to suggest waiting to go there until the clans moot has happened, if possible, until the clans moot has happened, and we've had a chance to talk to Archmage Gekri about that. But in the meantime, that he is going to want to visit the Green Scales and the Fume Weavers to learn what he can about any disturbances in the local area. Since they're usually the first to know, or possibly even the first to go, depending on what the threat might be.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So there's a bit of a question of where exactly the Green Scales are. You can just ask around and try to get their last known location. They're a semi-nomadic. They want to set up a permanent home. They see the benefit in that, though obviously that is a big task, a huge project. It seems that Clan Half Gray has been in talks to them about that. They are an ally of the Green Scales. That's about as much information as you have at the moment. So where do you want to go with that? What's your next step?
Well, so where do the Fume Weavers live? They're more stationary, right?
Make a history check, but not with advantage. This is a little bit obscure here.
Okay.
Watch them be all the way on the eastern side.
Well, it's a 19. So.
Mm-hmm. You've heard some different things as to where they live. The descriptions always put them in swamp layers. So you don't have a specific location in mind, nor on your map. They've come into conflict with Greenscale. Greenscale is going to be in the swamp land. Typically they roam the swamp land closer to Norville's Rock, so we can say the western part here. So you do not believe the Fume Weavers typically are there. But you don't have much specifics on it, though.
All right.
They're known to be the Mephits, little small impy-ish things, composed of mud and smoke and steam.
Right. Now, do I know what that tree is?
One moment. I believe you do.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yes. Another location that every dwarven child has heard many a terrifying fairy tale about. Old Gnarl Branch, the ancient witch tree, the site of many a dark ritual before the Fingard put the witches to death.
All right, let's burn it down. No, I'm just kidding.
All right,
it's immune to fire. You can't destroy it in any way.
I'm trying to think about, basically going east so we can contact some various of the swamp folk to see, what they know, but to have a destination in mind.
Do you want to gather some information about the Green Scales?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and make probably just a persuasion check, unless you have a different idea.
Well, let's see. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be like survival to know that a large group of them recently headed in a certain direction, or.
Okay, so with survival, that seems to represent more going out into the swamps and tracking.
Right.
It's a lot of area to be tracking through, unless, where they want to build a town. They want to build a town at Adder's Tor.
Right, yeah. That would be my only attempt at using a skill that I'm better at than persuasion, so I might as well just do the classic.
I have some thoughts, just minor things. Is there anything in Nurgle's Rock related to the masked one that I can see any symbols, over temples or hidden little things? Anything that maybe I might get some leads if I talk to my patrons.
Okay, make Ooh, boy. Make... I wanted to say perception was like my gut, like my knee-jerk thing. So I'm going to roll with that.
All right, perception it is.
That persuasion, by the way, was 17.
Mm-hmm. Most people that you ask, those that you talk to, they say that the current news is that the green scales are already largely collected at Adder's Tor. They've begun constructing their town. They've started putting up some what do you call it? Walkways? What do you call it? Those swamp walkway things.
The floating planks.
Yeah, just the swamp. Let's call them walkways. There's platforms there in the swamp. That would be necessary for people to actually walk into a settlement. They've started putting up some platforms and walkways. They've started constructing some buildings. It's early stages, and they really haven't finalized any agreement with the dwarves yet. An interesting piece of information that you come across, however, is that a representative from Clan Halfgrey, emissary of sort, and some of his soldiers went to meet with the Greenscales a couple weeks ago, and it was supposed to be just a couple-day trek, and they have not returned, and there's all kinds of speculation as to what's going on with that.
All right. Well, I think Adder's Tor just became destination number 1.
Where's Adder's Tor again? Is that...
I don't have it marked on the map yet, but it's going to be east by southeast from Norville's Rock, so it's going to be beyond these tributary rivers and about...
There.
Yeah, about in this. I'll probably pop it down over right there on the map.
No worries. That's perfect. Yeah, that seems good. And who knows what else we might encounter on our way. We might find some valuable things here in the swamp.
I guess I'll just kind of give this to Kivish, since he's from these swamps. I mean, he's a druid of these swamps. On the way to Adder's Tor, there are 2 other smaller tors. So Adder's Tor is kind of a mid-sized rocky hill. There are 2 smaller ones. They used to be mines, but they are no longer active mines. The one that's close to Adder's Tor flooded. It flooded out, and so obviously they abandoned that. And then the one before that actually got mined out. It just got depleted of iron ore, so they just like, oh, we're done here. Those are kind of older ones.
I see.
So you'll kind of hit 2 on the way to Adder's Tor, assuming that you just take a straight path there. There is a bit of a road. Road's not the right word. There's a path. There's like a footpath, and maybe some carts have gone along it historically, but it's you can follow it, but it's not a really nice, proper, smooth road.
Right.
It's old. It's in disrepair. It was never a really well-made thing because, well, there wasn't a lot of incentive to build a nice road.
11 on the around perception thing.
The only thing that you see is when you're at one part, you're walking inside of High Rock, like you're walking inside the interior halls and tunnels, and you pass by the district of House Mithrillian, and they have these suits of armor, lining the walls, as one would put up almost like a display of artistry and craftsmanship. And out of the corner of your eye, you swear the masked dwarf helm for a moment looks like the masked one, just kind of grinning at you. And when you do a double take, all you see is this typical the dwarven mask helm.
That was House what?
Mithrillian.
And what are they all about?
They're the rich ones.
Yeah, they are the richest house, a very strict house, very strict, very rigid, even by dwarven standards. They own and operate the largest precious metal mine in Norville's Rock. They are also renowned as they're considered to be the greatest of craftsmen in terms of metal smithing and weapon and armor craft. They represent kind of like the elite status quo of Dwarven craftsmanship in Drakengrim.
That's important to know.
By the way, the emissary from Clan Halfgrey, Kivish, his name is Orgrin Halfgrey. Orgrin and his company of soldiers have been gone for 2 weeks.
Okay. So yeah, an Adder's Tour is like what, a day or two away?
If you take the path, which is a fairly straight shot, it's going to be a day or two away. So they were supposed to be back within a matter of just a few short days. They've been gone for 2 weeks. Right. It's gotten to the point now where everyone's worried.
All right, so
because it's possible that okay, maybe they got delayed. It's just swampy. The bogs kind of flood over sometimes, so there could be delays. But by now, 2 weeks, it's definitely cause for concern.
I'm definitely down for checking this out for them. Is there a little bit of pay in it for us?
So what we can do here is we can jump to a scene where you all are meeting with a member, an authority figure of Clan Halfgrey.
Do it.
Just 1 second here to type out a thing.
Yeah, sure. Assuming everyone's good with this, because I'm cool with this being our next adventure path and moving things towards this. I figure this will lead to some excitement and we'll stumble onto more things as we get into the swamp.
Well, and I guarantee you it'll probably lead us also further towards one of the other locations here.
Most likely.
Yeah, it all seems fairly connected.
Yep.
Okay, give me just one moment here.
Just good to have profitable motivations.
Yep.
You just got the music playing in the background.
That is my roommate. He's a pianist.
Gotcha. And he's dedicated. He's been playing for a while.
He practices a lot. He's very dedicated to his art. He plays classical, jazz, and salsa. Right now he's just rehearsing stuff. But when he actually goes and plays like a full piece of classical music, I love it. Okay.
Practice. That's what it's all about with music.
Oh, absolutely.
That and feeling it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's kind of you got both sides. You got the technical side, then you have the human, the soul.
All begins with practice, though, one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you all have arranged a meeting with a prominent member of Clan Halfgrey named Falval Halfgrey. He is something of a administrator, advisor, treasurer, and he explains to you that Orgrin went out 2 weeks ago. His objective was to meet with the Greenscales. He could speak their tongue. He was an experienced emissary, and his objective was to meet with them to figure out what kind of settlement could be built there. How could the dwarves profit from this? It has to be a mutually profitable thing. They are allies. but it's it's an alliance of mutual benefit. They're not doing it because they're not like grade school.
kindness.
They're not grade school tea party buddies. It's a mutually beneficial thing.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different opinions amongst the half grays. Of course, they're dwarves, as to is this even a worthwhile endeavor? If we get, and it was okay that the Greenscales would like come into Norville's Rock sometime and trade with us, and we would exchange news, and we kind of would help them patrol a little bit, and then they would pay us, and that was all fine and well. But the idea of us actually getting involved in the swamplands, getting into the wilderness, and the enemies of the Greenscales will become more our enemies. There's all different factors, and is it even we're going to be profitable? There's disputes over the mineral richness of Adder's Tor. A lot of the half-grade dwarves say if there was like good iron to be had or silver or gold to be had, we would have already tapped that. And there's never been a dwarven mine at Adder's Tor. And other people will say, well, there is. It's just deep down, and the last time we went there were these snake things, and there was just a lot of nasty creatures at Adder's Tor, and so it just wasn't worth risking our men and the pain, and people died, and it's just a bunch of bickering.
I think we get the gist after he's like talked about it. I'm like, politics, understood. It's like what concerns us is the safety of your house, your people, and I'm sure the politics will work themselves out. That's for the house, and your clan side.
Yeah, dwarves are usually pretty loyal to their clan members.
They sure are. Lykarr, make an insight check, and then Noxiqual, make a persuasion check.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm gonna start turning on the charm. Holy shit, that's a nat 20.
Awesome.
I got a 19.
So 25 total.
19 insight and 25 persuasion. Okay.
With a nat.
Falval speaks common. He speaks common very well. He also says that Orgrin is he spoke many languages, a very masterful linguist. So he's speaking to you in common tongue. Lykarr, you sense something is a little bit amiss. You're like, I'm no dwarf, but the dwarven loyalty is legendary, and they've been missing for 2 weeks. Why haven't they gone looking for him? Something is very much amiss to you. And maybe you kind of nudge and whisper a bit on Nox, and Nox, Silvertongue's, the conversation here. And Falval, he looks at his guards nearby. He tells them to shut the door, and they're like this big stone door thing. He tells them to put their fingers in their ears and everything, and he's leans in real close, and he's like, "We'll send out a search party for them, and they got ambushed by Fekarin trolls. Ripped off some of our men's heads, and they came back defeated."
Interesting. Are these Fekarin trolls a common problem, or are they something that is unusual?
There's always been trolls out in the swamps, but there's something was
Unusual.
there was some sort of taint, some blight upon these ones. Horrid, even for a troll. Hey. He tells you that the ambush took place after that first mine, after the first tour, the depleted one.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
I'm willing to pay, and I'm willing to pay good. But I'm going to shoot you straight of what you're getting into here.
Well, I do appreciate you being straight with us. It will make your money go much further.
So, Lykarr, you're the one that did insight. You've kind of checked out what the soldiers are like among Clan Half Grey, and they have some good soldiers. Yeah, they have good weapons and armor. They're well equipped. They seem well trained, disciplined, loyal, but they're not adventurers. They're not sorcerers. They're not druids. They're just dwarves. They're doing the best they can. They could probably put up a hell of a fight, but if you put them up against some nasty troll things, that's a pretty serious business, especially if they got ambushed. So, I mean, maybe you feel for the guy, maybe not, but yeah, he seems pretty. How can I put this? He's like embarrassed. He's like ashamed. I mean, beyond the pain of the death and injury of his clan, of his actual clansmen being ambushed. His like dwarven pride is like wounded. I didn't drink for a week.
How is he alive? Wait, that doesn't make sense.
I think we can certainly work out some details here. My crew and associates here are well equipped in certain magical aspects and such that would make us better, at dealing with these denizens of the swamp.
I'll pay
And,
well, but
oh.
you have to bring back Orgrin. Bring him back alive, or at least bring back what's left of him, and I can tell his family.
Of course.
I need to know what happened out at Addertor.
Let's draw up the contracts. You wish to know and have some sort of proof of his body if he is not able to come back alive.
Okay, so he makes an offer of, with your objective. It's, I guess, two objectives. One is bring back Orgrin or bring back his remains, and the other objective is to get information out of the lizard folk, just overall investigation as to what happened, what's the situation, what they just need to know. So they need information, they need Orgrin. With those two objectives being met, he's made you an offer of 500 gold pieces and a suit of adamantine half plate.
Whoa.
I think anyone object to this?
No, I could use the money.
Personally, I prefer if said adamantine half plate were actually like
I can actually wear the
some
adamantine
special
half plate.
fancy druidic thing. But yeah, no, I realize that.
Yeah, I can definitely wear that adamantine half plate, which, I mean, being immune to crits is pretty nice.
So naturally, you won't then want the money too.
If I took the adamantine half plate, I would have to fairly give you guys the money.
Alright, I don't have a tremendous amount of use for
Although
coinage often, but there are
I
things
can
I
make
do occasionally.
I can make you some offers though. If you have no use for that money, we can put it into the ship funds, use it to buy goods, and then kind of your investment may bear fruit later down the line. Something I'll work out with Esper off scene.
Mm-hmm. So the offer was made with
500 gold and an adamantine half plate.
Yeah, so the offer was made with Noxiqual doing the negotiating here.
Yeah.
So the half plate obviously benefits him. That directly benefits him. In a larger sense, it benefits the whole party, but it's obviously a direct benefit to Nox and his.
House of Half Grey would be able to promise that. I wonder where they got it from.
Oh, it's certainly not unheard of for House Half Grey or any of the all three of the noble houses to work with precious metals. Mithrilian is merely the best. Like they have the most of the material, the best craftsmen. But that's not to say that Half Grey does not have any of it.
Usually, it's like more of as a clan, they're the famous ones. But Half Grey may have like an individual who is really
absolutely the three major clans of Norville's Rock. All are very proficient at what they do. They simply have areas in which they excel in, like they're the masters of those areas
where they've made their
yeah.
mark.
And there are smaller clans too. I mean, we've got Irv Swamp here, who's there's a druid, and he probably has some other druidic associates. So there's a lot. I mean, there's a whole community and like little outlying villages and huts and stuff. Norgle's Rock's pretty well functioning.
I'm signing this contract, and then I encourage you all to sign with me. My individually, what we work out, I'm like, I'll pay each of you like 200 gold. Yeah.
Kivish, Lykarr, you like the contract? You like the deal?
Yep, sure thing. We'll sign on and go look for this guy.
Sounds good.
Okay. What happens next?
I think we stock up for a trip through the swamp. Is there anything that we should get? This is your area, Kivish. Like, I assume there are mosquitoes and diseases and things like that. It's like we need special mesh for our tent or whatever.
Mosquitoes and diseases is probably the understatement of the century, but yeah.
It's in the warm season right now. Kivish, you would very much recommend that you pick up some repellent before you go out there. I'm sure you make repellent yourself. So it's probably just like a kind of a smudge stick thing that you burn at your camp and just leave the wafting fumes going.
Well, I mean, yeah, between little cantrips and just straight up burning camphor or other similar, noxious crap that smells bad and smells bad to bugs too.
We should prepare for the trolls specifically.
Right.
Do we know anything about these trolls? I'm not going to assume anything, Esper, because trolls, like, people meta them so hard in other games. It's like you could have changed them to use the name troll. A completely different stat block.
I'm not really much of a stickler on metagame stuff. I mean, everyone knows acid and fire are good against trolls regeneration. That's probably like a common knowledge thing. The description that Falval gave of these trolls was that they were some kind of blighted. It was not your typical troll.
Stronger.
If you guys want, you can make the heck would a troll be? I don't know. I guess we'll do a nature check. Seems to be about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? 12.
I got a 15.
Nice.
Nature?
Mm-hmm.
I got an 18. No, 13. Sorry. Or 14, rather.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you basically got like the basic troll knowledge here. Again, they regenerate. Acid and fire helps put an end to that. Big, nasty, gnarled things. I mean, trolls. We all know trolls. The number of the trolls is cause for concern. Falval didn't give you a specific number of them. And so Lykarr and Kivish, you're thinking, well, I mean, if these are regular trolls, I mean, we could probably take 2 of them. Something like that. That would be a pretty that'd be a brutal fight, but we could probably take them. But if there's more than 2, gosh, that seems really, really deadly. And these didn't sound like regular trolls. Lykarr, make an Arcana check.
Okay.
Kivish, you can as well. I guess you both can do it since you both got the nature thing.
All right, excellent. So that is going to be a 23.
I got a 13.
Okay. Kivish is the one who has the theory now. Kivish is you're thinking whatever is going on in Dirge Caverns has affected these trolls. And there is some kind of necromantic or necrotic influence on them, a kind of curse or blight or mutation. And the description was beyond regular trolls. And you whatever Kivish's beard stroking thing is, you're just thinking like this, they sound really dangerous. Like a regular troll is already dangerous, but like this sounds like nasty, necro-infused power trolls.
Basically, we shouldn't just try to take on a horde of these. It's suicide to try to frontal assault this problem.
Kivish, just already, you don't know exactly, but you've got some pretty good ideas. I mean, you've maybe heard stories of this specific kind of troll before. They're not a common thing at all.
Are they
And
sentient?
Kivish is just like, oh boys, like if we like get the jump on one of them and just like pummel him with everything we got, we can probably take him down. But if there's more than one, oh god, that's just gonna be rough. And if there's like a group of them, just run for your life.
Alright,
Are they
so
sentient?
buy a bunch of barrels of cedar oil in a cart and find a pass and drop it on them and like.
Yeah. If you're getting into multiples of these things, Kivish, you're just thinking like a straight fight is not a good idea.
I mean, multiple trolls in general in a straight fight are gonna rip your arms off.
Yeah. Already it's bad, but these like necro troll things, it's just at the next level. Nox asks you about sentience, and you know that it is sentient, but in a rudimentary way.
So
its intelligence is degraded. They're not undead, but there's some nasty rot going on. So they're kind of dumber than a typical troll, which could be to your advantage.
I was about to say, we don't need to necessarily fight them. I have, shall we say, mental ability affecting things that could incapacitate them, or even maybe, if we're lucky, send them off in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
If we're clever, just like we were at Merkulon's Jaw, fighting could be a last resort that we may not even need to resort to, getting through these trolls.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're susceptible to illusion magic as well.
You have no reason to believe that they're not.
Yeah. Let's come up with a plan. I feel like we could sleep on this a little bit, come with some good plans for dealing with trolls. Sort of worst case scenarios, we're traveling, we see 5 trolls coming at us. What do we do? Kind of scenarios.
Wait until sunlight comes out.
And turns them to stone. Oh wait, wrong world.
Exactly.
So Kivish, you're the one who knows the most about these trolls. Nox's scenario there of we're just walking down the road, minding our own business, and the trolls jump out of the bushes.
Right.
Well, you might be able to run away from them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not particularly fast. They're not slow either, but
I think
you'd have a shot at it.
invisibility might be super helpful. If
Invisibility could be quite helpful.
we're traveling pretty light, just the 3 of us, right?
Unless we wanted to bring Kobe and Marley.
Kobe would make too easy a snack for these trolls.
Yeah.
Now that he's gained some experience, I want him to reflect on that a little bit.
Right.
I think invisibility, running away, seems like good plans.
Invisibility, is that a spell where you can cast it at a higher slot and target multiple people?
That is correct.
Yeah. Let's see. And are you level 6?
Yep.
Yeah, level 6. Right. So I bet you can put it on 2 people with 1 casting.
That is correct, and it takes concentration,
Mm-hmm.
so he can't do it on more than those 2.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But that's 2, and it's just the 3rd one has to have their own way to get away.
Well,
in that particular sense.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to it, I do have Heart of Moonlight and Shadow that does during a short or long rest. It triggers a rest. I can invoke like a thing to guard our place of rest.
Well,
and I have Pass Without Trace for walking around and not leaving a trail.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really do invisibility directly, but
Pass Without Trace, I highly suggest we use when we're going through the swamps, so we don't get a troll party tracking us.
Yeah.
I also think if that scenario happened, where we're outnumbered and we know it's a no-win scenario, if I can act quickly, I can never say whether I can or not until this scenario. I will drop darkness on us, and can either of you fly? I believe you
I
can.
can.
Why don't you cast invisibility on us? Is flying concentration though?
It is.
Mm,
Yeah.
alright. Invisibility on yourself and
Comes down to it, I
Kivish.
can meld into stone.
But there's no stone around, then you're screwed.
Well, yeah, there's stones around generally.
If there is no stone around. I'd suggest casting invisibility on you two. I'll have the darkness, and I will find a clever way out of it. Possibly by using hypnotic pattern or some other various spells. Or making a run for it. Honestly, I'm not that slow. Like I can probably make a good run for it. All right.
Okay. Any other preparations, ideas, considerations before trekking into the swamp?
If the only other thing I can think of is if I can kill a humanoid that day when we're facing the trolls, I can summon a spirit. Trolls are not exactly the best. I can imagine draining them of their life force. These necrotic already ones could be a good way to kill them potentially.
Unless they're immune to it.
Yeah, Kivish tells you that necrotic is not going to harm this type of troll.
Well, then I'm guessing a specter probably won't be that effective. I think they just do necrotic damage.
Wait, so you mean they're not like brown mold trolls, where like the only way to kill them is with more of the element that they are?
Good classic brown mold. I love that one.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll head through the tours just like normal, and try to avoid them using pass without trace. Stealth, like if we can see them before they see us, I have a little bit of stealth ability. With your invisibility as well, hopefully we can avoid drawing attention. So basically, let's go quiet on this mission and not try to like fight.
Okay, so the plan is to move at a slow pace, using path without trace, and everyone's essentially going about in a stealthy manner.
Slower pace than normal. I don't know if slow pace. What you mean by slow? But
like the three main exploration paces, there's fast, average, and slow. So at slow, it's like half your speed, but you can use stealth.
That makes sense. Yeah,
and this is for like long-term travel, like throughout hours or even
which
for like hours.
Makes the ranger ability actually useful. That you can move your party at faster speeds without losing.
That is one thing. Yeah,
that's legit. I'm down.
Okay, pass without trace. What is that? 8 hours? 1 hour?
That is let's see. That lasts for concentration up to an hour. So,
Concentration up to an hour. Okay, and it's like +5 or +10 stealth. +10 stealth.
10 to stealth,
and you cannot be tracked except by magical means. Everyone needs to stay within 30 feet of Kivish to maintain that benefit.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, they told you that the attack happened just after Heath Tor. Heath Tor is the depleted mine. The next one you hit is, now it is called Drowned Tor. It used to have a different name, but after it flooded, they just started calling it Drowned Tor. So, what I'll do is I'll assume that you all are moving about carefully on your way, and then once you can spot Heath Tor, that's when you're going to cast Pass Up. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you've got your repellent packed up, you got your water, your trail rations ready to head out into Dins Morris.
Let's kick some ass.
Assuming
that we can. Oh, also, the other plan is if there's like one of them, then I think we should fight it to find out more information about it. if it's like a solo.
Sure. Yeah. Kivish tells you that if there's one, it will be a brutal fight. You'll have to just bring absolutely your best, and you. That's his guesstimation. He's not saying this would be a walk in the park, but he's like, we would have a shot against one. If there's more than one, it seems hopeless.
Totally understood. I just think we have enough tricks in our bag of tricks as all casters
Yeah,
that we might be able to even the odds against one.
tricks make all the difference sometimes.
They really do.
Yeah. All right. Let's head out into the swamps. The first section is still sort of a river wetland, lots of reeds and bogs. That's going to take you through the first day of travel. It's along this path, so the going isn't so slow. But if you get off of this footpath, it's going to get into some mucky parts. And there are parts on the path that will be kind of like flooded out with some bogs. But you fairly well can follow this foot trail. The first day passes really very peacefully. There is a certain beauty to the swamps if one has the right eye for it, and you can see the sun beaming through the clouds and scintillating upon the tops of little ponds with dragonflies flitting about, and there's all kinds of wildlife. There's just all manner of vermin and turtles and water rats and little beavers, and there's just all kinds of living things everywhere.
Do we see that little frog that owes you Kivish a coin?
Prince Hopper does not make an appearance.
Where's my money, Prince Hopper?
The second day of travel, the path continues as before. It doesn't. Its quality does not much change. The swamp gets a bit thicker off the path. But again, it's very peaceful. It's very tranquil. It's really a pretty pleasant stroll. It's humid, but not so hot. It's just kind of humid and warm. There's a constant buzz of insects and frogs, and here and there you'll hear like maybe a hawk's call. But it's really just a pleasant nature stroll. On the morning of the third day, early in the morning, you see rising in the distance a low rocky hill. This is Heath Tor that you're coming up on.
Excellent. Let's go see what there's to be seen from the...
Kivish, do you cast Pass Without Trace?
Yes, I do.
All right. Kivish incants his spell, calling out to the spirits of the land, and they respond by cloaking and muffling you and aiding in your quiet, stealthy movements here. You near to Heath Tor. Everybody make a perception check.
I got a 12.
I got a 6.
Well, I got a natural 1, so that's still a 6. But
Oh, I'm the high roll on this?
Mm-hmm. Okay. You all are walking up we'll say a mound. It's real swampy, all right? And so you've got this swampy terrain, and there's reeds and rushes and swamp trees and kind of scraggly things everywhere. Plus now you're getting into near this tor. You're on the path, and you come to the top of a mound, just like an upraise in the elevation. And Kivish, sorry, not Kivish. Noxiqual, you're the first one to spot this troll. Your roll isn't that great, so you're actually pretty close to it when you spot it. The thing is, it's maybe 30 feet away from you. It's sort of at the side of the road. It's a big thing, but it's hunched and bent over, and it's eating. It's in the middle of feasting on something. It's the only one that you see. Again, there's swampy terrain, so you're not sure what all's out there, but it's the only one that you see. Everybody make your stealth check with +10 from Pass Without Trace.
I was about to hold up a hand to stop everyone. So
Yeah. Yeah, I see you kind of you get to the top of the mountain, you kind of duck back down and raise your hand.
26 stealth for me.
25.
17.
17 still pretty good, honestly.
The creature is unaware of you. So imagine a typical troll, kind of that mucky colored skin, mottled, warted, scraggly hair, long, lanky limbs, long fingers with claws. This one looks big for troll standards. This is a powerful troll. This is a brute of a troll, and it has patches of rot all over it. You even see weeping black, almost tar-looking pus coming out of various wounds and rotty patches on its skin. You would have probably taken it for undead had Kivish not have told you that. They're not undead. They're badly blighted, but it's still living.
Right.
So out of character, healing magic against it would not be a benefit.
Healing magic would work. It would heal it.
Oh.
It's still alive.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Yeah,
it's not beneficial to us to healing magic.
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing's it's malformed too. It's muscular, but there are parts of it that just look warped or bloated or mutated. This thing's really twisted. It's feasting on something there in the bushes.
Yeah, probably a dwarf or something. I
feel like there are a lot more somethings than dwarves out here.
That's fair. I want to scan the area just to make sure there are no hidden, unnoticed ones. Although to be fair, if they're not super intelligent, they'd probably all be feasting on whatever that one's eating.
Mm-hmm.
So after taking a moment,
Okay, so here's what we can do. You've gotten yourself a better vantage point atop this mound, and you've got yourself angled to where the thing's not seeing you, it's not aware of you. Plus, it's pretty focused on what it's doing. So make a new perception check with this more advantageous position that you're in.
All right, fair enough.
Everyone is just him.
That's a good.
You all can if you'd like.
Okay.
Because I got a 9.
I got a 15.
Aha! I get a 24.
Nice.
That sounded pretty high. 24?
Yep.
Okay. That's barely even visible with the green. You do not see, hear, nor smell any additional trolls. It seems to be the only one.
Well, that's good. I mean, smelling would be a pretty easy way to know. If it only smells like one, it's pretty clearly only one.
It smells bad. Yeah, it has a real nasty funk. I mean, even for a troll, it has a nasty funk.
Right, but it smells bad, as opposed to more than one troll smelling truly immensely.
Yeah, instead of smelling like shit and sweat and just swamp funk, it smells like all that plus some kind of a rancid rot smell.
Right. All right. Yeah. So.
Dennis, did you ask a question in there?
Yeah, sure. Can we see what it's feasting upon?
That is a good question.
It is feasting on a lizard man.
Yep. Yeah. Well, if there's only one of them, I think with some good tactics, we could probably take it. What do you guys think?
As long as we keep it at
I don't
range,
see
it should
why
be fine.
not, but yeah, the question is just, do we want to get into a fight with it, or
Well,
yeah,
I can say this. I can make my weapon an elemental weapon. I can give it some fire or acid or something like that to end it when we need to. My initial thought is dropping a darkness here where I stand in, where it can't see me, but I can see out of it, and I would just pepper it with my attacks from range to irritate it, maybe send it over here, in a rage. Whereas you both could perhaps find some other hidden spots nearby to attack it. If we all stay kind of not together, it has to pick one of us. If it comes for um, um, Lykarr, you can go invisible. If it comes for Kivish, could you not turn into I don't know. I guess you can't fly. Can
well, I
you?
can wild shape into something that can scurry up a tree or into a hole. Yeah.
It would just tear into that. But I mean, basically, the plan is we're all hitting it with ranged attacks. Does that not seem like a good idea?
Yeah. That seems like the best possible idea for fighting it. Yeah.
That flaming sphere thing that you do, that would probably be a good thing.
Because of the fire. I
Yeah.
think I have some more powerful fire than that, actually.
If you do, the flaming sphere just simply being a continuous fire would
Yeah,
would helpfully
that is useful.
keep it from regenerating. Hopefully.
But
Um,
given that I can cast third level spells,
yeah.
oh no, sorry, Wall of Fire is until fourth level.
Yeah.
But
Any suggestions tactically, Lykarr, that you have from your repertoire?
Well, like I said, I think just keeping it at range will be the most beneficial. Obviously, none of us are really geared for hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, I agree.
So, general layout, straight ahead and behind you, you have the path. The path, while it's not in great condition, it's not bad either. So it's just pretty normal terrain, pretty clear. To your left is going to be hill terrain, rocky hill terrain, increasing in elevation. So it's difficult. And then to your right is swamp terrain, pretty thick swamp terrain. So if you get, let's say 30 feet away, you're going to have like partial cover and concealment from, whatever. And if you get out to I don't know, maybe like 60 feet, it's going to be like 3/4 cover because there's just going to be enough vegetation, trees, logs, mounds, rocks that there's going to be blocking a lot of it. And obviously difficult to walk through.
What about this? You two stick together on the first set of attacks hidden. Let me draw its fire, then you guys hit it right as it reaches my bubble. If it sees you, it may come for you, and then you can make both of you invisible. That way you can split up and confuse it while I continue to pepper it. Plus,
Okay.
I mean, if you're invisible, you can still control that fiery sphere, correct? Without breaking your invisibility. So.
yeah, well, it's just concentration. Although, actually, I would kind of be inclined to lead with Erupting Earth, just because that does vastly more damage, even if it's.
Let's all just hit it with our best shot then, starting
Yeah.
off. And I just recommend you get into your positions away from me because I'm going to cast darkness here, and I'll prevent you from seeing.
So what we'll do is, if you guys want to set up some positions, I'll have you each roll a stealth check to get to the location that is of your preference.
I'm gonna stand here on where we are. So.
Okay, so you're gonna stand atop the kind of mound area of the road.
And I will cast darkness centered on my spot.
Okay, so hold that thought, and then Lykarr and Kivish roll stealth checks to move into your positions.
All right.
Don't forget the +10.
Correct.
Do not forget the +10.
All right. 20 not natural.
Say it again.
20 not natural. Not the nat 20.
20. Okay.
But yeah.
good. Lykarr?
With plus 10, 17.
Okay, those are both successes. Where do you position yourselves?
Other than away from Noxiqual, somewhere just inside the tree line. Maybe even climb a little ways up a tree.
Okay, so you go into the swamp terrain between yourself and Noxiqual, and you climb up a tree. Lykarr?
I'll position myself probably close to where
You got the hill to the left, path heading back, and you got the swamp terrain to the right.
I'll stay reasonably close to Kivish. I'll kind of just hang out kind of around where he is.
Are you going farther out into the swamp terrain?
No, I don't want to go too far.
Okay, so you're just a little bit behind where Kivish is at in that tree.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, all right. What do you guys do? You've got your positioning. This thing's just feasting on a lizard man.
I will drop my darkness, and then on the next turn, I will start Eldritch blasting away.
Okay. Yeah, darkness, Kivish.
I'm gonna hit it with Erupting Earth, and then on a subsequent turn, that flaming sphere bring it to bear.
You're kind of quiet.
I said hit it with Erupting Earth, and then on a subsequent turn, bring the flaming sphere to bear.
Okay, sure. So he's doing darkness, you're doing Erupting Earth, and Lykarr, what are you doing?
I guess I'll just hit it with a good old fireball.
The good old fireball. Okay. So this thing, this rotting troll, is just feasting, and out of nowhere, there's chanting of spells all around him. He kind of sticks his head up with like gore hanging out of it. A cloud of darkness envelops the top of the mound area of the road. The ground like explodes into chunks of muck and rock beneath him, and fire explodes along with that. These are
shadow blades appear on him.
two reflex saving throws or dexterity saving throws, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Against Erupting Earth, he has a fail, and against Fireball, he has a fail.
I'm gonna make my attack rolls, Esper.
Was the darkness an action?
It was, but I assume I did that before we all did our first attack.
Do you want to attack now and then cast your darkness on your next turn?
No, I wanted to cast darkness so I got advantage on my attack when I attacked him.
Sure. When you cast your spells, really everyone's casting their spells. That gets his attention.
That gets his attention. Sure.
Yeah.
Then I will hold my attack and.
Okay. So the darkness was the priority.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So it failed its save.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's my little Nyarlathotep symbol, which is the 12 on this D12, and the little Azathoth symbol there, which is another 12. And then the Haster symbol, which is a third 12, so that's 36.
Damn.
That's probably the first time I've ever rolled 3 12s on 3d12 for any reason ever. So I don't roll 3d12 often, but yeah.
Old ones are with you tonight.
Indeed they are.
30. So I have 31 on the fireball.
Woo! Okay.
I'm hearing a total of 67.
The rot troll hears spell casting. He just pops his head up, and the next instant, his whole world is just chaos. Does the earth thing knock him down?
Corrupting Earth.
I guess not. It just kind of messes up the ground all around him.
I think Adam may have lost his.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It makes the ground all chunky around him, but it doesn't actually knock him over.
Difficult terrain.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for initiatives here now.
Oh boy, that didn't do him in.
That was a pretty serious hit. That seemed to do some real damage to that guy.
I'll be honest. I wouldn't expect that to kill a normal troll either.
that was a big hit on him.
Yeah.
That was nothing to scoff at.
I have it. Well, when you're ready.
Go ahead.
15.
I have a 15 as well.
I have a 20.
Okay. Who's got the higher dex score?
I've got a 16 dex.
Okay.
I have a 16 dex.
Do you really? Who has a higher wisdom score?
I have a. You got it.
I got a 10.
Yep, you got it.
You have less than a 10 knocks.
Yes. It's my one weakness. Well, that and other weakness.
Okay, we need to have Nox making some questionable judgment decisions to
Okay.
his low wisdom.
You don't think I haven't?
How do you think I'm a warlock? All right. So the troll's whole world just goes into utter chaos as he is assaulted magically, and it's shrieking and whooping this terrible sound. It's wounded, but it's still going. It's enraged, really. The fire seemed to be particularly effective against it. That black weeping stuff seems to kind of like momentarily congeal, kind of crust over. It kind of crusts over. It's going to start kind of pussing out again, but at the moment it got crusted. So it, let's see, I guess Kivish is closest. You went to a tree kind of in between Nox and the troll. All right. So it goes kind of tromping through the little puddles and mud. And you're there in the tree. Let's see. I'm going to have it climb up into that tree too. So you've got basically you're clinging up like on probably a low branch, something that's easy to get to. And oh shit, this guy's really tall. Make an athletics check. Let's see how high up in that tree you got.
16.
16. Yeah. I think you only got into low branches. So this guy's tall. He's got lanky limbs. Right. He's going to be in attack range. You have half cover from the limb, so +2 to your AC.
Okay.
And I'll say he's not in bite range, just his arms. So here are 2 claw attacks. We'll see what happens next turn if he can get closer to you. First claw is 27.
That'll do it.
And second one is 22.
Yep.
Okay.
I was almost excited to have an 18, but nope.
The thing's claws are quite painful, powerful, long, sharp things, and there's some necrotic damage on it as well. So it's like slashing plus a tinge of necrotic too.
I didn't really want to say anything, but climbing up a tree, you kind of trapped yourself there.
Yeah, well, I didn't anticipate it running directly towards this tree. I thought I'd be a little bit more hidden.
You did the most damage. You pissed them off.
Oh, yeah.
33 total damage from both of the claws.
Ow.
So this thing is just ripping at you from, probably like your legs and your hip area, shouting. It snaps with its teeth, but you're probably up there a little too high for him to actually chomp on you. And you can react right away. You've got this thing just like tearing at you from the ground. It's pretty tall, lanky, long arms.
Let's see. Well, actually, so presumably this means I can center the flaming sphere in such a way to completely engulf it. I don't assume this troll is 20 feet spherical. Because I'm not a physicist, I wouldn't assume that everything is spherical.
Okay, so you cast a flaming spear just like right there, like between his legs or something. He makes a dexterity check or a saving throw. 17.
Great balls of fire.
Great balls of fire.
That makes it, but that halves it, so that's
okay.
And this is less impressive, but it is fire damage. That's half of 8 to 4.
He does not like the fire,
And
especially
then,
not crackling on his nuts there.
since that still leaves me a move, I'm going to do something a bit daring and try to jump to another tree.
Okay, give me 1 second here.
Or, well, actually, jump down would be a better idea onto the ground.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, you're like in the sole tree. So just kind of giving you an idea of the terrain. There's vegetation, there's like sedges and bushes and reeds and cattails and grass, all kinds of swampy stuff. But there's not really many other trees of note
That's
nearby.
fine. Jumping down would be better anyway.
What about
Okay.
your horse?
Is Tynan hanging back on the path?
For now, although he's not really have that much combat benefit, and I don't need to see anything invisible right now, so yeah.
Okay, Tynan's kind of like safely back, like behind, a distance behind Nox. Okay, so are you trying to get away from the troll?
Yes.
You will provoke an opportunity attack.
All right.
Sure, you want to do that?
A full round action. Well, I mean, we need to attack either way.
Do you want to get out of the tree though? I mean, you can like get down. You can kind of like swing down as long as you're not leaving the threatened range.
Well, so it would still attack me on its next available turn, presumably.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have half cover, and it could bite you.
So the opportunity attack really is the least of the evils. So yeah.
You're getting out?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. You climbed up there a ways, and you kind of like swing down into some swampy terrain. Make an acrobatics check.
All right. Fairly decent at that. And that looks pretty good because it is a 19.
Okay. So that was strictly for the movement. You land on your feet on a nice spot. You don't like bust your ass in the mud, and you start taking off. The thing swipes at you. Swipe. Yeah, the thing swipes at you. Completely misses.
Nice.
And you go moving 12 and a half feet.
All right.
Yeah, you're just like to the swamp stuff there. Lykarr. You're probably like right next to Lykarr now.
All right.
So Lykarr, you see your dwarven ally like run. What do you do?
The troll's doesn't seem to be hindered by the terrain.
He is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go away from the troll at best speed.
Okay. You heading for through the swamp area or back to the road?
I think I'll go back to the road because I have better speed on the road.
Okay. You back up on the road.
All right. After I do my move, then I'm going to turn around. I'm going to try and cast. I think I'm going to cast Chaos Bolt on it.
Chaos Bolt.
Don't forget your sorcery points and all.
I was just gonna say that. Don't forget sorcery points. You could. Do you have Quicken?
I think I got
Empower.
2 of them: Quicken and I think I told you when to check up to them. Golly.
I mean, there's no point in holding back your resources now.
Yeah, don't don't hold it back.
I'm trying to look real quick. I think that was one of them I got. I don't see it. Oh well.
Okay, so Quicken is 2 sorcery points, and you cast the Chaos Bolt as a bonus action. Then you can use a cantrip spell after that as your action, or you could dash and move farther.
Okay, well we'll use the 2 sorcery points and do it as a bonus action. So we'll start with that, and then I'll see how we go, and then we'll see if I want to continue to run away.
Okay.
because I can't take those kind of hits. I'll be troll food.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so that's 19.
19 is a hit.
All right, so that is 2d8 plus 1d6.
And then you determine the element based on those d8s.
Mm-hmm.
8. 4 is 12. Plus 2 is 14.
Okay.
So now I got to look up Chaos Bolt. Look it up online. It'll be faster. I'm so disorganized. It spell chaos. It doesn't have it. What the hell?
What'd you get on your D8?
I got an 8 and a 4.
All right, you can do force or thunder.
I'll do force damage.
All right. You have struck him. So that was bonus action quicken. Do you want to use your regular action for a cantrip, for dashing, for dodging?
If he's not going down, I'm going to keep on trucking because I got to get away from him.
All right, so you go running. Do you want to run like past the darkness and Nox, or do you want to run the opposite direction?
I think I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm not going to run him towards.
All right.
the
So
other-
Lykar's run down the road.
Run forest.
Nox.
Alrighty, I'm going to blast him, light him up with my open blast.
Okay.
I assume he can't see me, so I have advantage.
Correct.
Here we go. Does a 20 hit?
Yes.
Alright, not a natural 20, just a 20 on the dice. And then that's even more, so that'll definitely hit.
Good.
Alright, so just totaling up some force damage here. Looks like I've got a total of 10 force damage.
All right. You blast the troll with your dark blades of force. It's still standing. It's still going.
I knew it wasn't gonna drop from those piddly attacks.
You all put more damage on it, but it's still going.
Trying to get its attention to come to me.
Yeah. It runs down the dwarf.
Alright.
And just goes wailing on Kivish in an utter rage.
Alright.
Oh, Kivish, hang in there, buddy. Bite. 22.
Oh.
Claws. 19 and 12.
Ugh.
Well, one doesn't hit.
Okay, so the bite and one claw. Oh, that bite has a lot of necrotic on
This
it.
is why I suggested you guys stick together so that you could invisible.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought he was going to do. That would have been really nice.
But, I mean, a tree.
Everything went into chaos when the terrible necro troll came lurching at you all.
It was so well planned.
Oh. What's your current hit point, by the way?
How much damage did it do?
I haven't rolled it yet.
Because I'm going to go ahead and say probably 0 once it does damage.
Okay, I'll roll them one at a time. This is the bite. 22.
Ding.
Kivish lands face first into the muck.
I dream
This
of
troll like
trolls.
chunking into his back. The claw rips at him. You have 2 death saving throw fails as it's just like tearing into your flesh
Oh,
mercilessly.
Okay.
If they attack you when you're already at 0, you take a
Yeah.
It's a critical, yeah. So
Wait, well, why is it 2 instead of 1?
a critical hit deals 2.
Oh, it was a crit. Okay.
That's what happens when you have unconscious people right at your feet.
I didn't realize that was a crit.
Yeah. The flaming sphere sputters out.
Oh, this mother.
All
All right.
blow it up.
Lykarr, your friend needs you, man.
Well,
Also,
Go.
you're next.
All the sorcery points. Use them all.
Yes. Actually, yes.
I was trying to do this tactically, but I guess I'll have to pull out some bigger things here.
I guess we're just. I'm not going to be able to cast Fireball. Not while he's on top of him.
Couldn't you cast it upward so that it only caught the upper half of the troll?
Can you explode it in the air?
I don't see why not.
If you can explode it in the air, it would be pretty easy because this thing's tall.
Tall,
It's
yeah.
like a 9-10 foot tall thing.
Well, if you say I can, yeah. Then
I think you can explode fireball in the air. I'll double check real quick.
Well, I mean, like if you could attack a flying creature with a fireball, I assume you could throw it into the air and have
Yeah.
it blow.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Yeah. It's a point that you target, not a creature.
Correct.
You choose. It simply says a point you choose within range. Okay, so sounds like fireball.
Yeah.
Reflex save.
10 on a deck save.
All right. I have to do math. 12, 22,
All right.
30, 33.
You roast the troll. It's badly singed. Its flesh, especially along its like top of its head and its nose and its shoulders, are just like hissing, and the pus is like popping and snapping, and it's like barely keeping its footing, almost falling over into the swamp muck.
All right.
All right, well, now I can cast a cantrip now since I'm using 2 more.
Yeah, you need 2 more source. Okay, go for it.
I guess.
Got firebolt.
Healing? Something?
Yeah, we're not healers.
I have Ray of Frost or Acid Splash. Maybe Acid Splash would be better.
You're better against it, yeah.
Yeah, because it was a Constitution save or a Dex save.
Also, it's acid.
Acid splash is a
Dex save, I want to say.
either he attacks or it's a deck save.
I'm pretty sure Acid Splash is saving.
Yeah, I've got a sorcerer in my current campaign that uses that one. I'm pretty sure it's deck save too. Okay, Acid splash it is.
Yep.
Okay. Splish splash. He was taking a bath in acid. Fail.
Well, that does 2d6.
I assume a 13 is a fail.
10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. Okay, so it's a whole 2d6.
Okay.
8.
Acid spatters all over the troll. It wails in agony. It nearly falls over and it barely holds its feet. Noxiqual.
All right. How far away is the troll?
30 feet because you were just on top of the mound. Oh no, it came closer. Holy smokes. So it's just out and it's like just to your right, like 15 feet out in the swamp.
15 feet, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Bonus action, I'm activating the sword's ability to Shadow Blade.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I'm going for it. If it's only 15 feet out, would I get advantage because technically Shadow Blade, if you're in like a dimly lit or darkness area, you get advantage on your attacks?
Yeah, also he can't see you.
That's fair. All right.
Unless yeah, the darkness.
All right, cool. I'm doing this. I
All
come
right.
out of basically I just imagine the darkness kind of streaming behind me like mist as I emerge from it. I'm slashing a blade of the same mist a darkness into it.
You're probably still in the darkness area because it goes out like 20 feet in all directions, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I totally just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, you're just like right at the edge of the darkness, and this blade just slashes out of it.
All right. Well, those are both really high rolls, so yeah, he's gonna get hit for like in the 27.
Okay, I have a question for you. Is this
Is it more
dealing? What type of damage is this dealing?
Psychic damage.
Psychic. Okay, so your blade like slashes out like that,
Mhm.
and then the troll just starts like oozing like black ichory blood out of its ears and just falls face first into the mud.
I knew it would, but I just wanted to see if I crit. Have to see. Nope. But both would have hit.
The creature is slain.
All right. That actually wasn't too bad, aside from the part of the plan where, damn it, Kivish, you weren't supposed to be in a tree.
So quick
Wasn't
thinking.
supposed to
Kivish,
run right
Kivish is on the ground like bleeding to death.
Yep.
Like he's on death's doorstep this very moment. Quick,
I
fast. What do you do?
I will try to I don't have any healing potions or anything. I don't think. Check.
Shit
What do
about that healing potion from Chip Vonder.
Should have.
Um,
Hang on one second. I'm
Lykarr?
just.
Sure one of you has some rudimentary healing spell of some sort.
Lykarr, what
Nope.
do you got?
Can I try and run over and stabilize him?
I'm
what do you
gonna
have to
a
stabilize
medicine
him?
check.
I don't know. Put my finger in the hole.
Like literally, the best I can do is a medicine check. And it's
you have no healing kit or implement or anything?
Nope.
Oh my god! Not even a
Sorry.
regular potion of healing.
No. we use them up. Like,
Oh, okay. I was gonna say somebody healed themselves at some point.
yeah.
Oh my
I haven't
god!
just.
Does
It
he
seems
have
like-
something on him I can use?
So this is kind of funny, Esper, because the scroll that I wanted to buy from you earlier
Mhm.
was a scroll of Revivify.
Revivify, yeah, that's a good one. Man, no one has a healing potion. Oh my god!
We don't have any clerics or paladins or anything.
Well, your
The
healer is
halfling
the
river merchant was like, "You want a potion of healing? I got that for sale."
Yeah. Well, we didn't have any money at the
Yeah,
time.
who needs potion of healing? Okay. Well, this is like serious business here. All right, are you ready for some Constitution checks or
Medicine?
Constitution saving throws, Kivish?
What do you mean?
Constitution saving throw. Oh, I'm sorry, death saving throw.
Yeah.
Okay, are they not trying anything?
Man,
They don't have anything. They have nothing. They
Can't
don't
we
have
do,
they don't have bandages. They don't have anything.
That's what I was going to say. Does he have anything on his body that I could pull out to try and...
Kivish, do you have anything that's like readily available on you?
I certainly don't have any potions of healing because I have
Okay.
my various healing.
Esper, can't
like,
anyone try a medicine check to try and stabilize someone?
That's what I thought.
He's gushing blood from Troll ripping him apart. You
I'm
have
not
not
saying-
even a bandage. What are you doing?
I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I'm saying anyone could try.
No, I don't see it.
All right.
Kivish,
Sorry, Kivish. I tried.
All right,
make a death save.
time for the ultimate skill challenge. Well, the first one is an 11.
Okay,
So,
One success.
all right.
there's one success,
Second one's a 14.
2 successes.
So I'm already even, but
Live
now
to
this is a full count. Born to
Full
lose,
count,
live to
bases
win.
loaded.
Born to lose, live to win with a 17.
Woo!
Alright, so
Kivish is not today.
not today. Indeed.
So from this point on, Kivish, along your back, like on your shoulders, you have horrendous laceration scars and probably like some blackened flesh too.
Yep.
Woo! All right, you each have achieved 2 milestones, and I think that'll be a good pausing point right there.
How many more milestones if I told the dead on Kivish? I mean, he'd want it this way.
Did we get anything from the first part, from like interacting with people?
Let's see. I'm kind of like backtracking through things.
It was a lot of investigation.
Yeah, what I'm trying to think, like, what was a significant challenge or like meaningful thing? I think,
Greyjoy is the only thing, or house.
yeah.
Not Greyjoy, but
I think the best thing that I could probably justify is like a half milestone for Kivish because his knowledge was the most helpful thing.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah, I'll grant Kivish a half milestone. Yeah, your knowledge and tactics was very helpful for the party. So that was like partially what allowed your success. Woo!
Well, if this is a success, I'd hate to see failure.
I'm gonna get a wand of healing, and I'm just gonna hit Kivish over the head with it. Like, don't hide in a tree when we are attacking.
So 3 successes means I stabilized, right?
Yeah, that's what happened. You stabilized.
Okay.
So you can, assuming nothing happens within the next hour, and I don't
Let
think
me
anything
look
does,
it up
you
to make
complete
sure
a short rest.
But yeah, let me just look it up to make sure I can spend them all at once because I'm spending as many of my Balm of the Summer Court
You
dice
can
as I
absolutely
can.
spend all of them at once.
I don't believe you can use a balm while you're unconscious, though,
Oh,
because
no.
you're not conscious to be using your
Oh,
ability. But you
right.
can
Alright.
you can use like your regular hit dice.
Well, normally what happens is you wake up 1d4 hours later with 1 hit point, and
That's
then
right.
have
Okay.
the short rest.
And then,
Oh,
yes.
is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
So
This is
then-
actually not a common situation. Usually a guy is just like he dies in the fight or he comes out of it,
I've
still
seen it.
conscious.
I've seen it happen once or twice.
Yeah, it does happen. It's
It happened a lot more in 3.5, where the rules were a little more like weird and mincing about it.
There was a lot more healing available. Our party
Yeah.
severely lacks healing.
Well, it's me.
So anyone out
I
there
do have
listening,
Cure Wounds and Balm of the Summer Court, so I can
somebody
do a fair amount.
send these fools some potions of healing.
if anyone wants to join the party as like a healer, we'll totally like write you in. Just join Esper's patron tier of playing the game with
Go
us.
check out Esther the Bard on Patreon today.
Yes.
All right, so we'll just pause there. Kivish is stable. We'll come back with you all, like dragging his lacerated self out of the muck, and we'll just continue from there. What a session.
Yeah. I mean, my plan worked fairly well. I didn't take any hits.
Yeah.
I totally imagine that, you guys, you talk a lot and you kind of get all these different ideas, and then it just erupts into chaos. And it's like, oh my God, what? I mean, how many times does that actually happen in real life? It's
absolutely the case. That's great.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a blast once again.
Thank you, Esper, for running. It's always
thanks a lot. That was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll pick up again next time with the journey back in the swamp. Thanks everybody for watching. Until next time.